Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show, an epic one. Backstage, we have Hannah with Own Your Powers, and we're both coming in today as Life Path 11's with a channeled message, as well as helping you understand your dragon guides, what a dragon's here for, what are they able to do to support you and I and us as a collective. A lot of the questions, if you have any questions about dragons, about your dragon guides, about what color a dragon might mean, about what your dream meant, we're here and we're going to be able to give you that channeled message. So I just want to kind of give you that love up front and foremost as I get ready to introduce Hannah and bring her to the front of the stage. I'm going to say here, Hannah, welcome. What do you have for us?
Hello, Pernell. It's awesome to be here. I'm super excited. As I like to say, I'm a glitch in the matrix, and I believe you are as well. That's like kind of what we bring to the table as Life Path 11s. So I'm excited to see what magic we will create. Definitely feeling the energy.
1000%. Yeah, we already had a couple of disruptions go down, and I definitely consider myself a disruptor. When I really feed into it and like feel into it, and already the internet connections was playing back and forth. I said I lost access to my YouTube, I lost access to my StreamYard where I'm hosting you. I had to recreate it all over again. So it's been going down early. All right, it's been going down
Yeah,
early, but this transmission will not be stopped. So I see we have 11 people on live already, and we're both Life Path 11s. Uh,
that's amazing.
it is amazing, right? I do want to, hey Jerry, what's going on? Uni, I do want to let y'all know a couple of the energies that I pulled up early for this particular live. There was actually 5 different energies. One is the Moon card in Tarot, if you're familiar. Actually, it's this one. The Moon card in Tarot as an angel. This represents Archangel Gabriel. Okay, and off the rip, this is speaking about a lot of calamity. I mean, a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, but within through that shifts, through that story of chaos, there is going to be a lot of divine revelations, a lot of things coming through that are just like they've been in your dreams, they've been in your waking life. I've been seeing 777 on repeat. Um, Let me think. Reveals messages and has the power to actually change destiny. So that's one of the things that Gabriel's walking us through. And one of the I like to remind people off the rip is angels, unicorns, and dragons, they actually all work together, through different dimensions, different frequencies, and they have different purposes. And so just to start off and help you understand how these energy are supporting, angels have never incarnated on earth. So I've had people ask and wonder, like, man, angels, when they really get to know them, they're like, angels are not nice. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like, they're not human. I mean, they've never been human. And so it takes it's difficult in a sense to fuse consciousness every once in a while, like, and understand why do they seem mean, but they do work hand in hand. And dragons, in my opinion, are a lot friendlier. And depending on what dragon, I mean, Hannah can tell you more about that, depending on what it is. But the one that I did get dragon wise is actually this beautiful card, which I've never pulled up in my deck ever. Never, ever, ever have I gotten this card. I was surprised as I saw it this morning, and we'll get into a little bit more about what this golden dragon is about. But just for now, it helps you to expand your light, to be a peaceful warrior, help those in needs, and remember your magnificence. And so that's just kind of one of the starters, and I put that up on the screen. Hannah, before we dive any deeper, is there anything that is resonating with you right now that you just feel like you just need to say as we move forward?
Definitely. Thank you for inviting me. I feel like it's really synchronistic that you pulled that golden orange dragon because my
Mm-hmm.
dragon soul is that of a golden dragon. So
Mm,
it makes sense that that would come out now. And I
mm,
can say the frequency of golden dragons, I actually haven't spoken about this on my channel yet, but I have been inspired to make a video shortly on the topic. Golden dragons kind of hold the frequency of ascension. And I know they talk about that in the Oracle deck about this card that you pulled as well. It's like golden
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
dragons are kind of, it holds this energy of enlightenment that kind of
Sure.
like disrupts people's thinking and gets them to transcend the matrix. So I feel like that is what we're doing today in this live is we are transcending the matrix. We are mutating reality, creating our own reality. And on the angel cards that you pulled, I feel it's really interesting that you brought up chaos, because that is exactly what is happening right now. It is pure chaos. And I don't know if you saw, but like last month, chaos dragons came in like hella strong all of a sudden. I had never talked about them on my channel before, and they're just like, all right, it's time to talk about us, because people need to learn to work with the energy of chaos. It's not inherently bad. I
No.
feel like we're brainwashed to believe that it is like this horrible thing. Oh no, chaos. It's just a neutral energy, and you can have a lot of fun with it. And I kind of think of chaos like the ocean waves, if you will. If you don't know how to surf, you'll get kind of dunked by the ocean waves, and it might be a really distressing experience. But if you learn how to surf, it can be a fun time, and you can look like a badass doing it. And that is honestly like what I feel like we're doing today and here. And like everyone that's showing up is like, we are learning to surf this ascension wave and kind of make it our bitch, if you will.
The whole surf thing came up recently somewhere. I don't even know where, but when you said it, I'm just like, it's gonna come. I promise it's gonna just hit me later.
Yeah.
I have seen, and I don't even want to say I've seen because I haven't seen, but I felt the presence of chaos dragons present. So I felt it. I didn't see it per
Yeah.
se. But what I have also noticed is people who have never spoken about dragons are just magically like feeling drawn towards dragons. And I'm like, yeah, they are helping us through this process right now. In this particular deck, this is a fifth dimensional dragon, and this deck goes up to 9 dimensions, and it starts at 4. So just to help you understand, like the fourth dimension dragons are like these like leadway dragons that are between the 3D. They've transcended, or if you will, they've ascended the 3D reality, but they chose to not go to the 5D and stay in the 4D so that they can be closer to humans. So this dragon is like in the dimension, and it's not about a hierarchy, quite frankly. They all have different purposes, but this fifth dimensional dragon is helping us use the wisdom that we've learned, okay, but to be more peaceful warriors. And so this is more of a fifth dimensional frequency. I would even say like close to like it actually works very closely with Archangel Metatron, right? With the record keepings, and then if you see all these books, and Metatron is literally keeping records in the Akashic record, no? And so it's like this is saying like you have that soul DNA, you have that soul knowing, and there is a peaceful way to go about the chaos that is currently being presented to us, right? So it doesn't have to. It's not about gear up, put your armor on, and grab your swords and your bows and arrows. Right now, what I'm honestly getting is like, how do we embrace gentle sensitivities and not be like, I'm in Aries, for example, Aries sun, moon, Mercury. Hannah is a Leo sun and moon, and it's like these are these fire energies are more associated with like aggression or passion and like asserting ourselves. But it's like this is actually there's this other side of the masculine, and I've been realizing the divine masculine has been waking up in the buttloads, super fast, super rapidly, and the side of the divine masculine that we often forget is very caring, it's very soft, and it's very considerate, and it has a lot of these feminine qualities when it's in this integration form, and when it integrates the feminine, right? And it's not about just projecting and moving and pushing forward. That's a element. It's an element to steer the ship and know where we're going and why we're going. But along that journey, we're leading, and we're essentially feeling empathetically with others involved, where we don't need to push, we don't need to fight, we don't need to ramp up, we don't need to go on stimulants, right? Like today I wanted to drink a coffee, like I just felt this urge, I wanted coffee, and I was like, no, in order for me to channel this message today properly, I need to not drink coffee, I need to not let my intelligence get in the way, and actually just feel what needs to come out.
That's beautiful. I think it's interesting you mentioned that. I don't have coffee here, but I do have cacao. I don't know if you've ever
Ooh.
taken cacao, but it's
Yeah,
like
I'm familiar.
ceremonial cacao. It's really
Mm-hmm.
great for channeling. It like opens your
Mm-hmm.
heart. And I feel like it totally matches the frequency of what you said. It's like kind of like a stimulant in a sense, but in a very gentle way, not like an aggressive way like coffee. And I find that this is now my go-to drink. And it is just beautiful for the creative process.
No, Cow's beautiful for waking you up and, like you said, opening the heart. 1000%.
Yeah, exactly.
1000%. 1000%. My you know what my other go-to has been, because I'm in Mexico now and it's starting to get hot. Like, it's been like averaging like 91 every day, but it's dry heat. So like we don't even really know. Like, you're just dehydrated and you don't know until your skin starts flaking and you're like, what the hell? Why am I so dry?
Maybe I should drink something.
Yeah, right. And so it's been cold showers. I've been taking consistently like more cold showers, having to put my head under running cold water, like ice cold water, and it's been helping because all this ascension that's going on, right? Like, and I know you know this is a life path 11. It's like all this heaven and earth connecting, and these dimensions starting to fuse into one, and we're bringing in alternate realities into our current reality, and our current reality is fusing with alternate reality. All of that happening, um, the mind, the mental body, cannot process all of it, not logically, not rationally. It can be totally overwhelmed, especially anybody that's out there in the chat who channels energy. Okay, like Leo was a natural channel. Leo is one of the most natural channels. That's why it's exalted in Neptune, for example. And Neptune is this Piscean energy, and we all think of Pisces as the spiritual creature. But it's why Leo's, like Hannah here, she channels dragons so easily, especially with her moon there. Now, a moon in Leo, she's channeling for the people. The moon is always for the people. So she's channeling for the collective. She's channeling for the people. And y'all know her, even better, right? Like, a lot of her fans are on this page today. So shout out to y'all for supporting her and giving her the courage to keep doing this. Even when no one was talking about dragons, she's been doing it. So, shout out and kudos to you. But my point is, like, as we keep channeling all this energy, the mental body is not designed to make sense of spirituality. It's designed to help us hone the astral body, or which would be considered our intuition or our emotions, which are in this chaotic frequency that just goes any and everywhere, and it's fully expansive, and it's completely infinite. The mental body is helping to, in this third dimension, bring that to an understanding. But above that mental body, or when you start talking like fourth dimension, for you will, this is the causal body, where it's like, this is where spirit messages are coming from, and through the mental body, kind of through the crown down to the root, if you will. But when bigger collisions happen, whether through planets, whether through just channels coming in heavy, it can overwhelm the mind. And so I'm gonna give it back to Hannah as I get ready to just help y'all understand real quick. If we just, everybody, I want you to try this with me. We're gonna start at our palm, on the thumb side, and we're just gonna go ahead and rub in the thumb and start to release tension, starting from here in the thumb point. We're gonna do it on the other hand. All right, this is emotional freedom tapping, or emotional frequency tapping. If any of you heard of it, I'm gonna come on the outside with the pinky. This is the karate chop side, if you will. And then I'm gonna come to the eyebrows, and we're just gonna rub in these circular motions. I'm gonna spread outside the eyebrows. Eventually I'm moving to the temple. Good, and I'm gonna come back to the eyebrow. I'm gonna tap on the eyebrow. And this allows our minds to begin to open. As you notice, the frequency of my voice changed and the energy settled down. I'm moving to my temples. I want everybody to try this if you feel free. And then we're moving down to the underneath the eyelid on the bone. As I then shift to the top of my lip and underneath the chin. I finish on my chest, right across that collarbone. And then I'm going to come to the top of the head. And this is just releasing excess energy. And what it does is it's going to allow everyone on this call to help channel with us, all right, as we bring in information for you. So, Hannah, where are we at right here? Acupressure, absolutely.
That was amazing. Thank you. That really helped a lot. And actually, now I feel inspired to share something, if you don't mind. I could lead
Absolutely.
us through a very brief sort of meditation to open us up even further to channeling. And I thought we could all kind of call our own dragon guides in. And so people can experience this in a really like tangible way. You don't have to just hear us talking about it. You can experience it for yourself. But before I do that, I will say the one thing that I was called to touch on is clear cognizance. So I know when you were mentioning, like, you intuitively just felt like the chaos dragons, even though your mind couldn't make sense of it. And that is totally clear cognizance. And I feel like more and more, those of us on this path, we're going to be tapping into that clear cognizance because, like you said, the mind can't really make like sense of it all. It can't really keep up with it all. So the clear cognizance is like an instant download of just knowing, and then it's just a matter of choosing to trust that. Choosing to trust you got that download for a reason, and it's not just your mind making things up. But yeah, I feel like that's a part of this ascension process is more and more people are going to be developing their clear cognizance. And it kind of works perfectly with the dragons because in my experience, dragons aren't very like chatty, like talkative. Really, dragons are like an energy above all else. And I communicate with them primarily through just clear cognizance. And I know lots of other people that work with dragons generally, they say they don't really talk to their dragon so much. It's just kind of instant telepathy, clear cognizance that is exchanged. So this is definitely a skill that you'll want to develop if you want to work with the dragons. And we can definitely tap right into that now if y'all are ready.
Please do. Ready.
All right, let's do it. So you can just shake it out, stretch it out, release any tension or pent up energy. And when you're ready, you can just close your eyes. And you can start to become aware of your breathing. Not controlling your breathing, just allowing it, drawing awareness to it. The inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And as you continue to breathe on your inhale, I want you to imagine that you have this line right above your head, right above your crown chakra, that's going right up to source, a direct link to source, if you will. And on each inhale you take, imagine you are pulling in that golden source energy. You are drawing it in through your crown chakra, through this line above your head. You are allowing it to flow throughout your body. Waves upon waves of healing, enlivening energy. It flows like a waterfall, enlivening your cells, activating your light codes, repairing your DNA, waking you up to your latent psychic abilities, opening your chakras. And as you exhale, you release any tension. You're starting to become aware of any area of your body that might be a little out of alignment, anywhere where you might be experiencing pain, tension, anxiety. Just noticing that in your body, not judging it, not trying to make sense of it, like we said, simply noticing it, bringing your awareness to it, shining a light on that. Knowing that oftentimes when we can bring full awareness to the sensations experienced in our bodies, they'll dissipate within 3 minutes usually, no matter how overwhelming they may seem, whether it's an emotion or physical pain. So just taking a moment to bring presence to these spaces. Know that they're just messengers. They're just letting you know what's blocking your channel today. So taking a moment to do a little body scan, drawing awareness to any areas where you're noticing tension, resistance, pain, anxiety, anything uncomfortable, and shining a light. And on each exhale, you You release that tension, that pain, that anxiety. You allow it to flow back to Mother Earth through your energetic tree roots. As you get lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer, more and more connected to Source. So one more time, I want you to draw in that Source energy on the inhale, allowing it to expand, to flow. And then exhaling any resistance, getting lighter and lighter, clearer and clearer. And now I would like you to call upon your higher self and your spirit guides, particularly any dragons that would like to assist you today and bring you clarity. Maybe they have a claircognizant download for you. So you can just set the intention now to invite these sources in, knowing that your intention is magic, your intention is power. And as you set the intention, it is done. Even if you don't notice anything consciously, it is done. Your higher self is with you. Your dragons are here. You're fully supported on your ascension journey. So just take a moment to feel into these energies. You can feel the presence of your dragons around you. Just feel that big, powerful, but loving energy holding you in a bubble of safety, of transmutation and transformation. Knowing that you are safe, you are always connected, protected, and loved. You are one with the universe. You are not alone on this journey. You are connected to everyone here on this live, anyone that will be attending in the future because time doesn't exist. You are always connected to your higher self and your spirit team. So before we wrap up, I just want you to invite a dragon to step forward for you. Maybe they show you themselves. Maybe you can see what this dragon looks like. Maybe they speak to you clairaudiently. Maybe you just feel their energy. But just take one moment to allow one of your dragon guides to come into the spotlight and support you today. And I'll just give you a moment of silence to really feel into this energy and observe. Allowing your dragon guide to share with you a message, whatever it is you need to hear today. Inviting them to share that with you now. Inviting them to anchor you in this frequency. And then you can send love to your guide, thanking them for showing up, sending them your love, sending them your gratitude, allowing yourself to return to a place of bliss and peace and love within yourself. You can take one more deep inhale of that source energy, just integrating this connection today. Drawing in as much as you need, knowing there's an abundance of it available to you. And then exhaling, releasing any and all resistance, opening your channel, choosing to be present in the now. You can start to bring your awareness back to the present moments, back to your body. You can wiggle your fingers, your toes, moving with the energy as you see fit. And when you feel grounded, you can open your eyes and you can share with us in the comments. I would love to hear how you experienced that, if you saw your dragon guide, if you felt them, and what exactly you received. And I know Centered Touch says, are we both taking questions? And I would say, yes, we are. Yeah. So
1000%.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting to kind of note as well, that both of us have this style of channeling. I don't know if it's specific to Life Path 11's or whatever, where it's like when you ask us a question, it just triggers like the flow of knowledge and information. A lot of times people ask me a question. When they ask me the question, I don't know the answer, but then I start answering it because I'm not answering. Like I'm just instantly channeling in that moment. And I love people asking me questions because I start to get answers that I didn't know otherwise. So it's totally great. We do encourage your questions. I know that I had some people send in questions that we can also ask at some point.
Okay, I think we got something here.
Cool.
I felt the big calm energy immediately. I saw 2 oracle cards, the new moon oracle and the new moon eclipse card. The first card means new beginnings, and the second is to expect a powerful change.
Ooh, I got chills. That's powerful. Yeah.
1000%. Yeah. You know, I think when we got on, Hannah was talking about the full moon that just happened in Libra, and you know, the major thing is that it went completely opposite of Chiron, right? This wounded healer, this healer who will trigger us in order to heal us. Like it's not necessarily always a soft, smooth form of healing, and sometimes it is. With this particular full moon in Libra, it was a softer, more sensitive form of healing. And the reason I bring that up is, you know, when you put this healer in Aries, it's like your identity is up on the healing block. And whatever was special and unique about you, literally the way you take action, the way you transform, the way you receive knowledge from the future and beyond, Chiron in Aries is saying it's okay to have oracle cards, regardless of if your 3rd grade teacher say this card game is stupid. You know, it's like this full moon was activating a more harmonic and balanced form of identity where, 1, we don't overcompensate for how we were hurt, and 2, we don't on the I don't even want to say on the opposite end, but we don't overcompensate, and we also don't repress our fears. So we don't let the fears make us reactive, and we also don't repress those fears where we then get sick in the body. So that was just the thing that kind of came to me right there, and that's happening for everybody. The more Aries and Libra placements you have, especially around anywhere from 11 degrees in your astrology chart, natal chart, to about 21 degrees, it was big for you. And also understand any Aries or Libras as well, Cancers or Capricorns, all those cardinal signs, any of you close to 29 degrees, plus or minus, going into Taurus or going back down in Aries, so about 29 degrees, let's say about, I want to say like 23 degrees of any of those signs. And it doesn't have to just be your sun sign. Understand this can be your Venus, this could be your Mars, this could be your Saturn. Any sign you have in those 4, specifically Aries and Libra is going to be the most intense, but Capricorn and Cancer as well. The eclipse is just on you. So I've been noticing a lot of head pressure, like intense head pressure. Like, what do I do with this pressure? I have no idea. It's like nothing works. For starters, high physical activity will help a lot to get the extra steam out. But secondly, um, if you're in a hot climate, ice water, cold showers. Um, don't cook your foods as much right now because your body will heat up. It won't take as much energy to heat the food back up. These are just certain things I've seen. Uh, Let me think. Writing, okay, because all of this that's happened, especially those people closer to those degrees, it's like this is ascension energy. This is the kind of pressure that it takes in order to crack the old identity that we've attached to, because the identity was not supposed to be attached to in the first place, quote unquote. And it's just like our attachment to it is what essentially started causing more suffering, or at least the perception that you were suffering. And it's like that's not simply true. It's like we can see if we attach to it, then yes, okay, it's gonna feel that way. But if we just, this is what the whole Chiron Aries is asking us. It's like balance out, balance out, learn your lessons from being attached to whatever identity you were told you needed to be, but realize that there is a gift that you can integrate from that as well.
Yeah, I will say, I don't have like a lot of Aries or Libra placements, but
Mm-hmm.
I was so feeling that Chiron transit. There was
Mm-hmm.
like 2 or 3 days where I was just feeling so raw and like low and wounded out of nowhere. There were no external triggers, but it was just like all of my like biggest wounds just came up and I was feeling so angsty and I was like, what is going on? And then I'm like, there's a Chiron transit. That's it. And
Well, you know what else could have probably happened? Do your parents have Chiron and Aries by chance? Like both of my parents have Chiron and Aries.
I am honestly not sure. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know how old they are, but I think
They're
if they're like
boomers.
52, I think like 52 to 54,
My
51
parents
to
are too old.
54.
They're in their 60s.
Okay, no, they don't have that for sure then. They
Yeah.
don't have it at all. I'm sorry, I interrupted you before. I'll check the comments and listen to what you were saying.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say it's interesting that this Chiron transit just happened because I feel life path 11 energy, which we both are, is the same as Chiron. It's the wounded healer. That's
Mhm.
how I've experienced being a life path 11. I feel like life path 11s. And I will say, if you don't know what your life path is, pretty easy to like look this up real quick. You can just
Mhm.
Google it, like what's my life path in numerology. Highly recommend it. It's really useful stuff. But yeah, for life path 11s, we kind of have this wound like Chiron that just drives us to kind of heal and seek the truth and ascend, if you will. And I feel like people like us generally don't have a choice per se. We do have a choice,
Mhm.
but the choice is like, do you want to marinate in more and more suffering and like increasingly more pain, or do you want to find answers and heal? So it's like always this like driving force. I've always seen it as like this fire on my ass, basically, that's like
Mm.
constantly pushing me to learn more, discover more, heal more. And in doing so, then we are able to heal others who are dealing with the same things. We're able to be relatable to others. And that's kind of the energy I feel Chiron brings.
Mm. Um, I wanted to check in with this lady here. Center Touch. I don't know if it's a lady. Excuse me.
Yes, yes.
Um, and she spoke about the pearl. So I was reading that, and it came very clear for me. It's like a pearl. Well, if you look at it in human design, for example, there's actually something called like the pearl sequence. Like, how do you get to this pearl? It's like this gem in the center. So think of it like an oyster who has this pearl, or I think it's oysters who have pearls in the middle of their shell. So the key thing with this is, right, while the shell is closed, and the shell, what I'm feeling right now is representing the heart chakra. Actually, that's what, at least what I'm feeling. As you um, lick your wounds, right? Like whatever they were, as you lick your battle wounds, the wounds on your heart, whether through relationships with other people, whatever the wound, you're gonna know. As you lick them and embrace them with compassion and realize that whatever happened to you was a part of being human. It was a part of you experiencing humanity with the collective, quite frankly, like us all needing to feel a certain collective pain. as you embrace that, you lick those wounds, you feel safe again to open up the shell. The shell can be defensive mechanisms. The shell could be, um, I'm going to stop there. You can dot, 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 etc. It could be defensive mechanisms. How do you respond and react to triggers when you get triggered? Do you attack a single person, or do you allow your anger to be expressed out into the world where it's not directed to a specific person? That's a lot of this Mars and Cancer transit, and one of the gates that's active right now. It's like, are you using your anger towards a single individual as a form of manipulation, whether knowingly or unknowingly, or are you just being angry out loud, where the anger is not directed to anyone and it's actually a positive release for you? Regardless, when you figure all that out, you get this pearl, and this pearl is essentially, it's your own gem, right? It's like when you dive deeper into your own soul and you get through all the blockades that was created, or barriers that were superficial at some point of life, but they were necessary as well at some point of life, and you realize you don't need them anymore, and you can let them dissolve. You can essentially, like an umbilical cord, let it wither away, where it falls off on its own. This is now gonna, through all that darkness, allow you to see, well, here's my gem. Here's my gem. Um, and that's going to be different for each person, quite frankly. Like, the gem is different for each person, but it is essentially what makes you unique. So the way I look at it is like, you can look at your chart and you can find those gems. I'm trying to think of, I don't know you, so I don't know where. The chart is way too big, so I can't even remotely think about where to look for you. I don't know if you're looking at work, if you're looking at love, if you're looking at past lives, if you're looking at your ambitions, if you're looking at your emotions. There's too many areas, but essentially what I got with that pearl is, um, that your gifts have been presented, and you don't have to know what to do with it. It's already activated. It will shine. It's kind of like ore, and like, whoever seen like Lord of the Rings, when you get that sword that just glows blue when it's around certain, monsters or whatever. That's how your pearl will work. It's like, it will glisten when it's telling you it's ready, when it's telling you this is what your gift is. You'll be talking to somebody, and then you'll just feel this brightness in another person, and you'll be like, damn, I really love the way you smell. Oh my God, I really love the fact that you're running a YouTube channel talking about dragons. And that will ultimately kind of reflect this light within you. It'll show you this is your pearl. So just pay attention to it.
I guess what else I will say on that, the
Mm-hmm.
pearl thing, is I got a hit as well reading that. And so I feel like the pearl is an anchor for your dragon guide centered touch. So a lot of times our guides, particularly the dragon guides, they'll give us what I call an anchor, which is like some physical world thing you can use to like kind of summon their energy, and almost like an affirmation. It kind of like primes the brain and it reminds you of who you are, or how you're showing up in the world. And I think that's what you said when you're talking about that. Let me see if I can find where it was.
Center. I can move back up.
They said to add it and to use it to bring my bloodline forward. Oh, I said I don't know what I want to be. That's what it is. Who you wanted to be. Yeah, who you wanted to be. Okay. So I feel like in perfect timing, like you don't have to go seek this out or make this happen, but you're going to be given a pearl maybe in the physical world, which can then call upon this guide and is going to serve as a reminder, as a synchronicity to kind of trigger your brain, like, who do I want to be in this situation? How do I want to show up in this situation? Because who we are, who we're showing up as, who we want to be, that's something we're constantly creating in the now moment. So I actually think it's really wise that you're like, I don't know what I want to be, because yeah, it's like we can't always know all of these things. And I feel like that's a process of kind of discovering and unfolding that you're going to experience. And when you do, you'll be presented with this physical world pearl, which I know they also said like they're going to hold on to it for now. So it's like it hasn't manifested physically quite yet. But when it manifests physically, you can take that as a means to call upon your dragon guide, and also to prime yourself with that question of like, who do I want to be in this situation? How do I want to show up in the world right now? And you create your identity and you step into your sovereignty from that energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What about Trine?
Yes.
Trine or Trine? Forgive me if I pronounced it inappropriately.
I always like butcher the names. I say it's hard.
Yeah, I know, like, so many countries, the accents change. I'm either getting
Yeah.
Trine or Trine. I'm not positive, but can you say something about working with dragons in geometry and art with advanced codes? And if you have any experience with that specific theme.
Sure. Yeah. So I feel like I don't know about working with like advanced codes or geometry and art per se, but what I can speak on is just art in general and creativity in general. So, as I always say, if you followed me, creativity and psychic ability are the same thing. And actually, in my course on how to work with dragons, it's called How to Train Your Dragon Guide. We go into creativity, and that's like a huge part of the practice of like how to start working with the dragons is having a regular creative practice, because actually when you are creating you are channeling and you are increasing your psychic ability. So I believe like if you happen, it's like not a thing of the mind, right? Like creating geometry and art, you're not like, all right, I'm gonna do this like advanced code or whatever. You just create your art, like whatever that feels like to you, and
Hmm.
you will be
Hmm.
channeling, I feel like codes, like light codes and activations and things through your art. And I feel like if you
Mm.
observe that in certain things like recurring patterns of sacred geometry and like, that's because that artist was perfectly in the flow state. They were perfectly channeling, and it just kind of happened naturally as a result. So I would say my just I guess to conclude, to work with the dragons, the best way to start is to just have a regular creative practice.
Hmm.
And like a muscle, it's important to show up consistently for that,
Mm.
because it's going to get stronger and stronger the more you're showing up consistently doing the same thing. It's going to be easier and easier for you to just boom, like innately channel the dragons, and you will be very surprised at like what shows up for you, I feel. So I
Thousand
hope that
percent.
answers the question.
1000%. When she said that, like, I recently just got, it's actually over there. I recently just bought a canvas, just a blank canvas. I've never really painted, like, and I had no idea what I wanted to paint. And then eventually I was like, oh, I want to paint this ocean. And then if you saw the painting, you'd be like, it looks nothing like an ocean, but it's absolutely beautiful, right? Like, and my point is, like, when I started painting, the hardest part was to start. If I'm being honest, it was like I'm looking at this blank canvas. I'm like, I don't know how to use acrylic. I've never painted before with this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And eventually, as I'm painting, every time I look at it now, like, there's a different message. It continues to channel for me, and I'm like, now I'm having this urge to go get another canvas. I'm like, I need another blank sheet, and I want to do this again, and I want to just, like, I'm feeling these things that I can't verbally communicate, but that art can express. And
Mhm.
so that's what I'm kind of getting for that question about the sacred geometry. I don't know if she said sacred geometry or geometry and dragons. It's like, let them communicate through your art. And this doesn't have to be painting. This can just be singing. You don't have to be the best singer, but when you hear a shaman singing in a jungle, for example, they're not really caring what their voice sounds like. There's no cameras on, you know what I mean? Like, it is not about America's top next model, whatever you call it. It's like the vibration and the frequency of the voice when singing, that will, it could be a hum, and that will communicate more clearly back with your guides. So I was
Yeah,
seeing
it like
somebody,
bypasses the conscious, logical thinking mind.
and that's what I was saying. The mental
Yeah.
body, this is a part of this pressure that we're feeling. We're especially if anybody in human design, if any 5 lines and 6 lines, like, I know I'm a 5-1, for example. Hannah's a 3-5. That 5 within her and that 5 in mine, these are mental bodies. These are mental signs, mental numbers, if you will. And anyone with those 5 or those 6s, you're at the tip of, like, whoa, above this, quote unquote, is this causal plane where these messages are coming through, and we are mentally filtering so that other people can experience what they're experiencing on an emotional and an intuitive level, right? So it's like if you're a 5 or a 6, your head might be the one feeling pressure, where it's like it's because you're this middle bridge. And the whole thing I'm saying is we're literally transcending the mental body as a whole, the mind, rationality, and we're moving more as a collective into this causal realm. But again, it takes the collective to do that. I, as an individual, cannot. Hannah, as an individual, cannot. Until we get there as a collective, we're gonna be experiencing this together more and more and more. More and more people will feel this together.
I know I see two people in the comments talked about their life path. One is a life path 9 and one is a life path 1. And I think they wanted us to speak on that.
Let me see
I would say
where they at
just
down there.
they're a little further up. But I would say just kind of what I get, life path 9 and life path 1. That's really interesting that we have two of you here, because 9 is like the end of the cycle and the karma. 1 is like the beginning. And just my experience of it is 9 is all about wrapping up karmic cycles and starting to transcend like that 3D world and that pattern of just reincarnating over and over and over again. And it is really like a time to really start tapping into your gifts and acknowledging your psychic connection to the higher realms. And then 1 is, it's not like you're just like, oh, like I'm a baby or whatever, like a new soul. Not necessarily. 1, I think, holds the energy of like someone who's a leader, like an entrepreneur, a speaker, someone who is kind of like a spark. I think it very much is the Aries energy, honestly. It also reminds me in human design of manifestor energy, which I am, which is like you start the spark and you see where that fire ends up going. So I feel like with the 1, you're likely an activator of some kind.
Pioneers.
I don't know if you have anything else to say on that, Pernell.
Yeah, I was curious of what life path 11 are you? There's 3 main types. Are you familiar? Like for example, I'm a 2-9.
Yeah,
How does
I
yours
believe
add up
I'm
to
also
11?
the 2-9, I believe.
Okay, cool. So back to the 9 to understand it, because within 2-9s, a lot of times, and I feel like this is a little bit of where the twin flames comes in on Hannah's channel. It's like the twin flame. This is essentially the 2 within us as 2-9-11s. Literally, this is the 2 energy. This is like we have this like draw, like where is this partner? And the reason I say that is because life path 11s, the 2-9-11 specifically, we have this 2 energy and we have this 9 energy. We have both. We're literally life path 2s and we're life path 9s, right? So the life path 9, to add on, because everything Hannah said was right on point with the 9, and to add on to it, life path 9s are the Sagittarian type energies. These are the gurus, if you will. These are the teachers, the ascended masters. These are the people who have reincarnated a lot, and they can take the pressure of the 9. And when I say the pressure of the 9, I'm saying like these are people who have lived a lot of lifetimes, and they've come back so wise through all those lifetimes. They have a lot of access to that information and that wisdom that was gained through their experiences. And as a part of that, they really do struggle with partnerships. This is a part of it, because it's like without having another partner who can kind of be like whoever is the woman walking with Moses, you know what I mean? Like if you can't be that person, and it doesn't work, right? Like because 9s are like their purpose are essentially they're like leaving and transcending the whole human base level realities where they can sacrifice. They're very sacrificial numbers. Life path 9s, very sacrificial numbers. They can sacrifice fun. They can sacrifice sex. And when they do, they grow and they hone their wisdom from their other lives. And this is what's nice about the 9. So you see that as well within Hannah. And as the I know you're not. We didn't say 11. The one itself is pretty much right on point. Everything she said. I mean, you're always pioneering. You're always pioneering. You're always going through something new. You're gonna have a lot of battles. All right, but those battles are only simply because you're always walking into the unknown. And as you walk into the unknown, it takes a significant amount of surrender, because it's like look, you don't know. So it's like, it's a kind of number that could be low in self-worth here and there. They always kind of go through some self-worth issues at some point because they're pioneering. Like what they're becoming has never been. It has never been. It has never been. So within that, when they try to ask somebody else about blah blah blah, no one else has done what they're doing. So they never gonna get confirmation from someone outside themselves, the one. So hopefully that kind of sheds some light.
Yeah, I feel like it's great. Um, I also say people are asking about the other life paths now. So maybe we want to just
Uh-oh.
run through briefly like other life paths. We got
Sure.
asking about life path 8 and life path 5.
Okay. I'll
And I
start with the
know,
8.
I think you already answered this question. Let us know if you want to know more. But Jeremiah was asking about being a life path 2 as being life path 11, which I feel like you summarized that
Oh, so
quite
so so
well.
the two. Well, I did skip an important part. Like as life path 11s, 2911 specifically, and I've seen this within myself. Like our our lower frequency as 11s is the 2, and so this is essentially putting power outside of ourselves in search of this partner. And a
Yeah.
lot of times, what it's doing is life path 11s, 2911 specifically. It's it's almost the avoidance of the pressure that comes from the 9, because the 2 is more harmonic. It's very sensitive. It's a beautiful channel. It loves symmetry, right? It loves connection. It loves sensual pleasures, and it's much more of like, look, I just want this easier life. Like I don't really, I'm not trying to run this, secret society for wizards and dragons lords. You know what I mean? It's like that's a 9 thing who can take the pressure from all those past lives. So what I find with 11s is we fall into these two energies when we don't want to step fully into our power, because the whole 11 is connected to heaven and hell in a sense. And it's these pillars that go from heaven to hell, as above so below. And it's like the 2 is stable, and 11s naturally are not very stable numbers. They manifest so rapidly and so powerfully that it does not make sense on earth. And so 11s struggle with this because they're always channeling stuff that is completely nothing to do with the earth realms, but they're doing it for the earth realms. So the partner, the seeking energy of the partner, for the 2 is like, it's because we have this desire to stabilize, and we understand that when we implement this masculine and this feminine, and that's what it truly represents, the 2 within the 11, when we implement this masculine and this feminine within ourselves, the partner magically shows, and we realize that we don't even need the partner anymore. And the partner realizes, when you find them, like, oh god, I was doing the same thing you were doing, and we both were looking for each other, but we weren't looking for ourselves. This is the 2 energy within the 11. And a lot of it, when those get implemented in the individual, then usually before you meet the partner, you're on your 9 path. And when you're on your 9 path and you let go of the lower frequencies of the 2, you're on your 9 path as an individual, generally the 2 your partner just comes out of nowhere. They're just like, oh god, I'm finally here. Where have you been? But you're not even thinking where you been anymore. It just makes sense. You're just like, uh-huh, I had to do this stuff first. I had to kind of release this codependency and this and this. I had to get on my path. I had to work with purpose. Everything the 9 is saying. I had to work in purpose. I had to teach. I had to speak. I had to travel. I had to move around. I had to go, be a pillar in certain areas of life. And that is essentially when it gets implemented. And that's the masculine and feminine, literally, the 2 and the 9 when they come together.
Yeah. I would just say preach. Like that is totally my experience. I feel like you just read my energy like a book.
Well, I'm just my experience, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm a life
that's how it
511. I'm
goes.
a 2 9
Yeah,
11. Like
that's how it goes.
that was my true story. When I
Yeah,
was in this twin flame journey as well, it's like, it wasn't like, for me, it didn't really click until I began to understand the purpose of my particular twin flame journey. And like
yeah,
a lot of it is like, now, like, I know who she is, I know she exists, and I'm always going to love her. But I'm not going to be with her. And it's just that simple. Like I've come to terms with that at a certain point, and then I actually found the right partnership for me. And I had to realize, like, what was I attaching to? And so
yeah.
some twin flames are here to be together. That's part of their purpose in this carnation. And some are only here to be triggered by that person to get on their path. So, every person is going to change. Um, But let me say this 8, unless we had other questions. I don't know if it was at the bottom.
I feel like, yeah, Jeremiah asked that question. He says, this is making too much sense. Thank you. So I think you answered.
Cool. Super dope, Jeremiah. Glad to have you. Life path 8s. I'm not an expert on 8s, but I do know that they're amazing money managers. Like life path 8s can manage money like no tomorrow. Very potent, very powerful energy, very closely linked to scorpionic energy, very intense. They can be domineering. This is a simple reality. Life path 8s can be domineering. They could want so much control that it's suffocating, kind of, to be frank. They have fears. Life path 8s do experience fears around money, around security, around stability. And ultimately, those fears manifest rapidly for them. But separate from that, they know how to manage the things of other people. They can look at stocks and investments and gold and silver, and they can make investments that are like, they're just on point. Like they really do gain a significant amount of change in his life, but they also lose a lot. So it's about them understanding that ebb and flow of gaining and losing. And what it is kind of preparing them for is to take what they learned previous life cycles as a 7, being able to channel spirituality in a rational manner. Life path 7s is one of the best abilities. They can look at spirituality through intelligence. And 8 kind of already has, like, they've implemented that intuition, and they've kind of let go of the intelligence factor that can block their intuition, and they've now integrated their intuition. So now this is why they know how to invest energetically as a life path 8. And that energetic investment, learning how to go through the ebbs and flows of loss and gain, is what helps them as 9s when they eventually incarnate as a 9.
Yeah, my dad is a life path 8, and I would say you just described his energy perfectly. How I've seen that manifest for him is like it's kind of like a joke that he's just always starting new businesses, and he's very, very focused on the external, like physical world, and creating like stability in that through business and just like amassing money. And I know at the same time, he has never really had stability and has had to file for bankruptcy like multiple times. So it is like this, it's brutal what I've seen from the life path 8. It can be brutal. It's like great gain, but also great sacrifice at the same time. But you learn, I think, through the school of hard knocks, what you need to then be a life path 9.
Exactly. Absolutely. And there's this opposite frequency of like that whole journey of gain and loss is what helps them to align with their self-worth, like an unshakable form of self-worth, because they're like, look, I have these experiences of grand loss and grand gains. And so that within itself taught me what I was worth and taught me what's worth investing in.
Exactly.
We got the 5 here. My mom's a life path 5. 5s live a very changeable lifestyle. They always change. They always have beef. Somewhere along the way, they always meet enemies. They always and they grow within the presence of enemies. They grow. They get stronger. 5 is very closely linked to Leo. This is another Leo kind of energy. It's like the more you hate on a Leo, the stronger they grow. Now, there's levels to that, right? Like the trap is to become addicted to the growth through stress and war and fighting, because they do grow from that. But the 5 energy has this kind of energy where it's like they're accustomed to the dark. They're accustomed to dark times, and they're always shining. Even in the dark, they're always shining. And so that's why they attract so many dark critters, because it's like, this is the only light in this area. Now, when the 5, like path 5s, when they get in their proper frequency, what begins to happen now is they learn that they can give life force energy to others and never deplete. And that takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to give infinitely, generously, like a philanthropist, very charitable, to give infinitely. It only can happen when they're given from a space of love. a heart space of love. So that's life path 5/Leo energy. It's like when they give from love, it is infinite. But when they give with any form of expectation, it is very stressful. This is when they meet more and more stress, and it seems unbearable. But beyond that, they party hard, they drink a lot, okay? They can really be party fanatics. They can really get addicted to drugs, or and vice versa. They may repress that entirely, where they completely go, absent from it all. Sex as well can be considered one of the drugs for them. Um, but again, that doesn't mean they have to be promiscuous, but they could generally just be flirtatious and love the energy and the attention. So ultimately, like if I think about what the Life Path 5 is here to do, like they're here to have fun and understand that attaching to certain friendships without any expiration date is not always healthy. Part of what they're here to learn is that like loyalty has an expiration date. Like sometimes people are just loyal until they are not. And so that's part of the stress that they go through. It's like, understanding what they're loyal to as an individual. And that happens to stress with people across from them.
Wow, thanks for sharing. I feel like I related a lot to that. And I never put it together that life path 5 is like Leo energy. So that would explain why I always thought I would be a life path 5 if I wasn't an 11, because that always kind of resonated with me. And my twin flame actually is a life path 5. But yeah, I super relate to like everything you just said. So I can attest that's definitely like Leo themes as well.
Great energy. Life have great energy. I mean, always fun, big ass smiles, I mean, the key thing, always fun. And they have huge hearts. I mean, their heart is so big. So big. And it's about learning for them, like not everybody deserves every part of that big heart. You know what I mean? Even though they can give infinitely, not everybody deserves a big chunk of that heart. Some just deserve pieces, because they are here. They are charitable people. They are here to give. They are here to love freely at the same time. You know, um, but also they can never be bound. You can never bound a life path 5. You can't suffocate them. They can feel very suffocated. You can't cling on to them, and never come at them just for their energy, because that is an insecurity that life path 5s go through, that people are only around here for my energy. They only want to get around me because of my bright light. So that's an insecurity that they have to face and walk through. But absolutely. So I'm going to take a step back.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to wait and see if something hits me or something hits you first.
Yeah.
Then go ahead and lead on it.
Well, I know I have some questions that people like emailed me. I don't know if you want to answer some of those.
Please do.
All right. So we got this one.
I tell you what, I'm going to put you on solo for a minute. I can hear you, but I got to take a bathroom break.
Go for it. I was just thinking the same thing. So clearly we got telepathy going on. So you can take a bathroom break, and then I'll take a bathroom break after you.
You sure you don't want to go first?
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
ready. I'm ready. I'm primed to talk on this question.
All right. I can still hear you. Okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the question, it's actually 2 questions I got from Amanda, and they're related. So I feel we can answer them at the same time. So the question is, when we are first blessed with our gifts, what practices/tools are good to start with? And then when we are first blessed with our gifts, how will we know what kind of work we will end up doing? So I think this is a great question for everyone to know. And if you're here, like in this live, like definitely you're already on this path. Like you've already got the gifts. And I would say in response to the second question, how will we know what work we will end up doing? You won't. Because that's part of the process. It's like an unfolding and like discovering. So it's like once you start on this path, you kind of show the universe like, all right, I'm ready to step into my power. I'm ready to own my powers, if you will. I'm ready to start working with my psychic abilities. And then they'll just give you like the next step. And it kind of goes like this. You kind of breadcrumb your way along. And eventually you'll be doing a bunch of stuff with your gifts, and you're going to be like looking at like how did I get here? Like how is this happening right now? Like I find myself asking that all the time. We're like, how am I like this authority on dragons now? Like how am I working with dragons professionally and like making money doing that? I don't even know. Like it seems insane to me. Yeah.
I've honestly come to that same realization one day. I was like, holy shit, do I really live in like all these different countries and teach astrology, human design? Like, is that possible? I've had that like moment come every once in a while, like, oh, it is possible. It's happening. It's been happening for years.
Yeah. It like just kind of unfolds naturally, and then one day you're like, wait a second, how did
I know. I was like, wait, when did I be able to, you know? And it only really hit me recently again when like somebody asked, like, are you doing this full time or not? I was always surprised, like, yeah, like, what else would I be doing? And then it was like, oh, like, wait, when did that happen? You know?
Yeah.
Feel free if you want to take it back a break, and I can kind of add on to the work, and help people understand from an astrological standpoint where you can look and give you examples. So you can look at your second house, your sixth house, your 10th house. Okay, these are Earth houses representing Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And so the question was, you know, tools and practices. Like the best tool that I understand right now is like, oh crap. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Nevin. My bad. I forgot to put my microphone back in. Is that why she looked at me like, hmm? Okay, so I'm here. Okay, so some of the practical ways to look at this is through your second house, your sixth house, and your 10th house. Thank you. Taurus is the second, Virgo is the sixth, Capricorn is the 10th. Now, these are the most practical forms, but I always try to tell people the next indications is the 5th and the 8th. And I just typed that there as well. Now, the 5th and the 8th is a little tougher to understand, but in reality, Earth makes sense, right? So I'm going to give you an example. My second house is Sagittarius. Okay. What is Sagittarius? It stands for truth. Second house is our value systems. Okay. And there's so many more things, but I'm going to stop there. It's our values. What do I value? Mine's in Sagittarius. So I value the truth. I've always valued the truth. And growing up, I realized there's so many lies. Like I'm just like looking through and I'm like, third eye, Sagittarius, third eye. I'm just like, yo, there's so many people lying. Like, this is not true. And I had no idea what they were hiding and around spirituality and yada, yada, yada. But essentially, I always was seeking for the truth. And that became a value system. So it is, second house could also be your bank account. And so, for example, Sag, in this example, could say, your bank account be funded by teaching and sharing and spreading light to the truth, to expand people from places of suffering with the truth. So this is just my second house as an example. Okay, great. My sixth house is Aries. So it's like, this is the work we do every day. Sixth house. What are you doing on a daily? So Sag was not the work I'm doing, right? It's just the values that I had. Sixth house and Aries is like, the work I'm doing every day is continuously pioneering and taking action on, and I kind of have to see what Aries is at in my chart. It's my sun sign, it's my moon, it's my Mercury. And it's like, okay, taking action on, and Hannah's back here, is taking action on the things that light me up, the things that bring me joy, the things that I'm passionate about. And so it's like, it's the exploration. If you look at your sixth house, you'll see what to do daily. Just for this example in Aries, is like the things that light me up on the daily that bring me joy is astrology. Okay, so now I'm saying my second house is Sag, so now I'm telling the truth, third eye truths, on what brings me joy, Aries, every day, being astrology or human design or YouTube. And then my 10th house now, the next practical house, considered Capricorn. For me, my 10th house is in Virgo. So it's like the image that I'm going to have is the 10th house, not what I'm doing and not what I value. That was my Sag for my values, what I'm doing for my Aries. The 10th house now is now saying, what's the image that's going to be presented to the world? And you put this in Virgo, it's like, just a well put together, nearly flawless work ethic. And that's just what people see. So it helps to know how others see you in the world. Not that you should make shifts and changes on that, but you should be definitely aware of it. At one point, I used to only think, well, here's what my reality is like. And I'd never cared about what the external reality was. But I had to realize one day that it does matter. It does have an impact. And it's helpful to work with the image rather than deny it exists, because it does exist. And so, for whatever, for me and Virgo, it's like, well, to the world, I appear to be this very meticulous person who is just like refined through the image I put out in the world. And so just knowing that, I realized me coming on a live, for example, not in refinement. So like, for example, right before I came here, I just cut a little bit more off my hair. Okay, my waves are showing a little bit extra, right? I shaved underneath here, and it's the image I'm showing to the world. And as I show this Virgoan image of just being simple, humble, like in image, right? I have so many colorful shirts, but I'm wearing a plain one, right? And so this is just my Virgo image. As I understand that, this is essentially how you're going to make money, honestly, if you look at these placements in your astrology chart, because these are the earth houses doing what's unique to you. Now, I did put here, if you see the 5th house and the 8th house, these matter. So the 2nd, 6th, and 10th, it'll help you with your career as you understand those astrology signs. Getting into that pearl, that gem, grounding what's magical about you. But the 5th house is really where you shine out. It's like where you shine for yourself. And the world just happens to benefit from this. So if you learn your 5th house, it's like, this is where you shine because you've broken from the family conditions where your family said you can't go speak dragons and life path numbers and make money of it. You need to go get a 9-to-5 job. Here, I know this doctor who can get you a position. 5th house is like, no, mom, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. I've broken from the condition. So 5th house matters when it comes to what do I do and how do I step into this space of spirituality and do it unique to me. And then finally, 8th house matters in this, where this is the energetic exchange. So this is the top of the social collective where it's like, look, energetically, how are you giving freely without expectations? How are you energetically aligned with your values and what you and so if I'm kind of trying to make it practical for you all. So, because this is what 5 lines do. Hannah and I both 5 lines. So it's about being practical, right? My 5th house also lands in Aries. So y'all got this sample from that from 6th house. So I'm going to leave it alone. But my 8th house, it splits back and forth between Cancer and Gemini. And so I had to learn both in order to energetically give an alignment. I had to understand, well, what does Cancer do in the 8th house and what does Gemini do in the 8th house? So in the 8th house, I had to realize, well, what am I sharing? I'm sharing information. I'm sharing my learnings. Gemini, what you learn. I'm sharing my learnings. I'm sharing my knowledge. I'm sharing my information, my wisdom through experience. And that's what I'm sharing to heal. Because 8th house is like, how do you heal the people around you? I'm hearing through intelligence, being able to craft together my words with spirituality. That's literally what it's saying in Gemini in the 8th for me. So when I do that, energetically, people in a sense are indebted to me and they give me resources, which does not have to be money. This can simply be love. This can simply be, I hope Pernell gets that job he was wishing for. I hope Pernell gets 2,000 subscribers tonight. And that is an exchange of energy. It doesn't, but it could obviously just be money. Somebody can just book a reading that can be a part of it, but it's oftentimes more related to energy. So as you understand your 8th house, this is all of those 2, 5, 6, 8, and 10. This is how you monetize your passions. When you come into your spiritual gifts, this is how you use them practically. Those are the houses. 3 of them are earth houses, which account for your physical things you own, a home, a car, a blah, blah, blah. And then the 5th and the 8th are more energetic. It's fire and it's water. And the 2 of those fuse together to make this steam and you begin to change, you mutate. Now with that all added in with the earth houses, you have enough. You have enough to honest to God monetize your life, your passion, your career. And I just gave an example. So if you need more time on that specific for that question, as we move to Hannah's next question, book a reading, and I'll help you understand those houses for yourself.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Like, wow, I feel like I learned a lot. And that's what I love about astrology and like your knowledge of astrology and human design is I find it really brings like structure. It grounds this information. It's like I'm just like up here in the clouds, like channeling all this shit. And I feel like astrology, human design, stuff like that, it really gives it form, if you will. It brings it back to earth. So thank you for sharing that. And that's super cool. The like connection between the 5th and the 8th house.
Oh
Definitely
yeah,
yeah.
that's
Placement.
fifth and eighth house is how you make billions, right?
Yeah.
So like second house, it's your bank account, it's your values, cool. Sixth house, what you're doing daily, cool, great. 10th house could be your career, more like your vocation. So it's like it's actually not your career. Career is what they try to sell you. Your vocation, you know, the passion work, the philanthropy work you're putting, the stuff you're putting out there for humanity, right? That's really your 10th house. It's not your career. Those are cool and dandy, but that's not your billions. Your billions is your 5th house and your 8th house. If you want to make money, you need to integrate your 5th house and your 8th house, and that will contribute to your bank account. And it has nothing to do with money. Just I don't want people to know that it has everything to do with passion. It has everything to do with desire. It has nothing to do with money. Money just happens to be what energetically lands for you. But it's not about money. If you try to address those thinking this is what I need to do to make money, you will fail, I promise.
Yeah, like money is the natural extension of you just showing fully and authentically as yourself. And I think it's really interesting too that you bring up that the 5th house, which is against my house, Leo energy, creativity, because that is like what I would recommend for like if you're just getting started developing your gifts and spirituality. As I said earlier, in learning to connect with the dragons, it really is as simple as just tapping into your innate creative abilities. And we all have those. And a lot of times, like we have them beaten out of us, honestly. So I would encourage you to think about like, what did you like? What did you enjoy doing as a kid that was creative? Did you enjoy writing? Did you enjoy drawing, singing, whatever it was? You look like you're onto something there, Pernell.
Yes.
What's up?
Yes. What you just said, I got this today. I'm going to make this big for everybody.
Yeah.
So I put 2 unicorns. I never shared this to you yet, but it finally came through. It's ready. The first that I pulled for this dragon deck, and like I said, dragons, unicorns, angels, they all work together, okay? This says soul satisfaction. It actually gives guidance for each one, and it literally says, do what makes you feel good. Honor your uniqueness. Okay? This is a card of self-discovery. Thousands of years you've been on your own individual journey, and you develop your gifts and your qualities throughout those thousands of years. Naturally, you're going to feel drawn to doing what makes you feel good. Okay? What this says is, however little time you have for yourself, create space to do more of what truly brings you joy. Express your soul. When you do so, the universe brings forward new possibilities. And so the question, this is what triggered me. The find your soul gifts, it literally says, when you were a child, what were you good at? I swear to God, that's what it says. I swear to God. I can't make it up. That's why I tripped out. You see the veins coming out of my forehead right now?
Yeah, no. That always geeks me out. I love synchronicity like that.
Oh my God. And so it says, find your soul gifts. Step 2, what did you want to do when you grew up? So everybody take a moment to type this in the chat. When you were a child, what were you good at? Type that in the chat. All right. Get engaged with us. Type in the chat. What did you want to do when you were a child? Or what were you good at? Sorry. Secondly, what did you want to do when you grew up? Third, what do you enjoy doing? And how can you do more of this now? I'm going to type all these for everybody so you can see them.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, now here's the quick exercise. Yeah, here's the quick exercise for this. You ready? Take a moment. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. I'm going to shift the tonality of my voice as I just expand my belly like a balloon. No inhale. I'm just opening it up, allowing air allowing space for air. Now I'm going to inhale softly without hearing my own breath. No one should hear it, not even you. And that allows me to fill that belly up with air. Now I'm going to let the air and visualize the air inside my belly, slowly and softly moving up through my heart. Ooh, tinkles in the heart. Through my throat, to the third, out the crown. Now, you're going to simply invoke your unicorn and tell it you wish to find your true soul purpose. Ask it to touch your forehead as you softly breathe, as your jaw relaxes, all tension, and your teeth completely dissipates, and your ears melt like lava. Your eyes get heavy, and you notice that your unicorn with its horn touches your third eye. Visualize the light in your third eye, brightening more, gently, softly, sensitively. Sense this third eye of yours lighting up. And trust that your soul gifts are being brought forward. Take a moment to softly breathe again. With this breath, you to your unicorn. And affirm this deep within you. I am satisfied at a deep soul level. I am satisfied at a deep soul level. I am satisfied.
Ooh, that was powerful. Thank you for sharing.
I love the unicorn deck. I have not touched this in like 4 months. Today was the day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not touched it.
It's perfect because actually unicorn energy is very complementary to dragon energy. I would say I've been called to work with them more and more. And I can say what's nice about unicorn energy versus dragon energy is unicorn energy is much softer. And like that little meditation we just did, it felt so soft and like rejuvenating and sweet and just like loving. Dragon energy can be a bit rougher,
It could come
especially
in
for those
powerfully.
unaccustomed. Yeah.
Yes, it could come in powerfully.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
the unicorns are usually really, really nice and really, really soft.
you know the irony though of the dragon, the one I never pulled. I never pulled this one. This specific dragon that came today, it continuously spoke about the peaceful warrior.
Yeah.
Not that it can't fight, but if you notice, it has a pen. This is the simplicity of the pen is mightier than the sword. This is what this particular dragon has come in for. Like, look, through knowledge, through information, through past life wisdom, you've already collected what you needed to, all the gems, all the pearls. It's just asking you to remember your magnificence. And this is kind of the thing where, like, you know, if you've never had an Akashic record reading and you feel called, get an Akashic record reading. If you need some money, I don't do them, but I know people that I have gotten it done with that I trust dearly that I would recommend you to. I can't say I do Akashic record readings, but if you feel called for an Akashic reading, just say so and I'll send you an email. I actually seen the reader in this call today. She was in the chat at some point earlier. I don't know if she's still here or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest
Yes,
that
can you
Akashic
please
record
speak more on
readings are
Golden Dragon?
life changing. I like actually someone I did a collab with last year. She's an Akashic record reader, and it was totally life changing. Right after my reading with her, that's when I like stepped into my purpose and like started making money doing what I love and working with the dragon. So highly recommend Akashic record readings to anyone and everyone. It's a nice like
1000%.
reset, I guess.
Beautiful reset. She's actually right here, Eileen, the Mexican Bruja.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah, so Eileen, I don't know if it allows you to, but if you can drop a link, let people check it out at their own rate. I don't know if you can drop a link, and if you can't, let me know, and I will. But beyond that, Elijah was asking if you can speak more about the Golden and Chaos Dragons.
certainly. Yeah, that's It's so on point, actually, that you ask about that, because that is what I've been called to like teach on. So that's like your innate knowing and intuition speaking to the dragons, just in asking that question, honestly. Because yeah, March, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, was very much Chaos Dragon month. And for the first time ever, I spoke on those on my YouTube. And then now I am being called to talk more about the Golden Dragons, which I haven't talked about really at all. But I would say their energies are quite complementary. I would say that I identify my dragon soul is probably Golden Chaos Dragon. And they kind of work together really well, because the Chaos Dragon energy is very chaotic and the Golden Dragon energy kind of brings a softness to that. It brings like a structure to that, and it really kind of tempers the chaos, if you will. So it kind of gives you like a chaotic good vibe, if you know, like the kind of alignments in like gaming, like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. Golden Chaos Dragon is like the chaotic good alignment. But yeah, golden dragons, in short, they really hold the frequency of Christ consciousness, which is
Yep.
necessary for ascension. It's a really high vibrational energy. That's the only way I could describe it. It's just golden. And I can tell you, when I like do my meditations with people, like we did earlier, when we're calling upon that source energy, I always see it as this golden light. And that is the same golden light that the golden dragons are made out of. It's just like pure expression of this golden Christ consciousness. And then the chaos dragons, they hold the eighth dragon elemental of chaos. And as we spoke on, chaos isn't inherently like good or bad. Chaos just is. And we're at a very chaotic time in humanity right now. And the chaos dragons are, I think, reaching out to more and more people, because we're needing to learn how to harness this energy, if you will, how to work with it. So it's not like playing us like a fiddle. And it goes back to that analogy that I spoke on about learning to surf. Kind of the chaos dragons want to teach us how to surf the waves of chaos and work with it and have fun with it, even instead of just getting all tossed around and kind of drowned by the chaos around us right now. Because chaos energy is kind of, it's a breakdown. It's a breakdown. And that's what's happening in society right now, is everything is breaking down. This really is the end of times, if you will, but it's not a bad thing. The chaos breaks down so that the new can kind of emerge. And the new that is emerging is the golden dragon energy. This is unity consciousness, Christ consciousness. This is just this high vibrational, 5-dimensional plus energy that's trying to sprout, I guess, from the ruins created by the chaos. Does that make sense? Let me know.
1,000%.
Cool.
1,000%. I mean, it's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, can't say it any better. It's 1,000% what's going on.
Yeah. So it's a very integral energy right now. And I would say probably if you're like seeing this live, that is for a reason. You know, nothing happens by chance. There is no such thing as a coincidence. So I would say probably golden and chaos dragons both are calling to you to work with you. And so you can start inviting those in and working with them. And honestly, speaking to creativity again, chaos and creativity are like basically the same energy.
Right.
I just think of the dragon goddess Tiamat, who is, she's a chaos dragon, but she's also like the main goddess of creation at the same time, because creation basically is a result of chaos. And that's what we're doing right now, is we're co-creating this new earth. So if you're wanting to start to tap into your creative energies again, develop your psychic abilities, call on a chaos dragon. They'll definitely help you. And also maybe at the same time, call upon a golden dragon to maybe temper that energy if you're a little concerned of what might happen with the chaos dragons, because it can get really crazy. I'll say that the chaos dragons, they really hold the frequency of the trickster. So they can kind of troll you, they can play you, they can take you for a ride. It's all in good fun to them. Sometimes they forget how difficult it is being a human. So sometimes if you're working with chaos dragons and you're not ready or accustomed to that energy, you'll want to bring in like a golden dragon or a water dragon or a light dragon, maybe, to sort of temper the energy of the chaos.
Yeah, when you said that, you know, it reminds me a lot of Pisces, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like Tiamat. I'm kind of getting Piscean energy even within
Yeah,
Tiamat. It's like Pisces
definitely.
and Sag, like they actually are considered very deceptive to the human mind, which is why they fall in Mercury. Mercury in Pisces, Mercury and Sagittarius, they're considered in their fall, their detriment. But it's like this is not bad. And in reality, those are the Mercuries that help our minds understand spiritual themes like no other. And the reason I say it is like it kind of works a lot in with this chaos energy where um they bring you on a mythical journey. They will literally detour you, much like the elephant. When you see an elephant, a lot of times it will put obstacles in your way that will actually lead you towards abundance. But you have to take the detour, which means you have to meet different people and you have to experience different emotions and completely gain a wisdom that is not linear. So the chaos, what I'm saying is it is ultimately this divine redirect, right? That if you tried to go where you wanted to go and walk straight there, it's almost like when you play that video game where you fight the last boss and day one, you just lose no matter what. And it's a part of the game. And that loss, okay, that defeat, that chaos that you experience, whatever it is, think of this in your life. If you're losing money right now, if your child support is weird, you're going through a divorce, like God knows what, it's like whatever the chaos in your life right now, take that as
The
frequencies.
chaos
Take
dragons are
that,
interfering
take
with your
that. Can you hear
connection,
me,
Pernell.
Kenna?
Yes, I can hear you again. Yeah,
I
you're
know,
back.
I know. That's why. Didn't I tell you this was gonna happen? I was like, I said this before we got, and I was like, I guarantee the internet. If the internet don't interrupt, then we're not saying the right things.
Yeah, and also, can I
Can you
just
hear me
say,
now?
like, Center Touch
Yeah.
mentions 333, which I've learned 3 is like a chaos dragon number. So that literally happened at 333, and you were totally channeling the chaos dragons. Like, yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
awesome.
so magical. That you know why it makes it so magical? Because 3 is also one of the universal love numbers, as well
Yeah.
as like creativity. And like you said, creativity
Mhm.
and chaos go together. When you see 333, it's a divine time of creation.
Exactly.
Create is a divine time of creation, right? The whole masculine, feminine, you get this new mutated substance. And like I said, frequency of love, but also chaos dragon. So what we're saying is it's like there's fine line between the two. It is truly important for us to embrace those chaoses, allow the redirect, and realize that that is actually what's putting you on path with abundance. But without chaos, none of that is possible. If people didn't die and people just kept being born, your life would not be what it is. I guarantee you it would change drastically. People need to die. You know what I mean? Like things need to die. A relationship needs to die. An old source of income for you needs to die. You can't become an entrepreneur without stepping out somewhere into this risk. There's somewhere going to be risk involved. That old form of income needs to die. I get that you're holding on to it because it's like, well, this is what I need in order to go be an entrepreneur. And it's like, no, that's not how the world works. That's how Earth works, quote unquote. That's not how the real world works. It's like heal your soul, and your soul will return, heal everything human related. Heal your
Mm.
soul, align with your soul, feed your soul, experience joy within your soul. And I promise you, your human barriers will just dissipate because they no longer can operate. They can't operate in the same frequencies. It can't maintain. And this is what chaos is about. Chaos is so beautiful. All my Scorpios out there who love death, okay? It's beautiful. Death is the most beautiful thing. Tarot readers who know about the death card, okay? Or they kicking me out. They don't want me in. They don't want me to stay.
Yeah, no, that's so juicy what you just said. It's like, it's just making space for your soul to shine through. Chaos makes space for your natural essence to just shine through. And that's the golden light that shines through.
Exactly.
And I see
Exactly.
here, this caught my attention. Center Touch asks, can you speak on just chaos dragons? I think I answered that. Let me know if you wanted to know something specific about that. But they're also asking, can a dragon be of two elements? Let's say chaos wind. 100%. So dragons can have multiple affinities, and it's very possible to have like 2, even 3 affinities usually. Some dragons, they're not even going to be elemental dragons, and they're not going to have any elemental affinities. And they're kind of neutral, if you will. And some, they're like so advanced that they're going to have like all the mastery, all the affinities. And in connecting with people's like personal dragon guides, I can really tell you, like, sky is the limit for what's possible in a dragon. There's so many like different types of dragons. In my experience, like, we usually focus a lot on the elemental dragons, such as the chaos dragon, and like the base elements like wind, fire, water, earth. But there are so many other types of dragons other than just the elemental ones. The elemental ones, in my experience, are they're linked, because they're linked to the elements. They're linked to planet Earth. So they are like more grounded than others. But when you get to like galactic dragons, celestial dragons, and stuff like that, they don't really exist within the Earth plane. And so they kind of exist outside of that matrix of these different elemental affinities. So I hope that answers your question.
They got me all the way out. Glitch is like, glitch in the matrix.
Wow. Yeah. That's like, you're vibing too high. You're at that chaos frequency.
I got booted out my own live.
Wow. That's insane.
Thank you, everybody. I know, right? I want to take a moment to say thank you, everybody, for just being here. You know, feel free, hit the thumbs up, whether you're watching us on Hannah's channel, hit the thumbs up. Whether you're watching us on my channel, hit the thumbs up. We do appreciate the effort, the energy, the consistency from the beginning of this live till now. You've stayed true. You've stayed and you remained. I just want to say thank you all. I just want to give you all a moment to say thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so I only caught part of
like,
what you had said before I left out.
Just with us.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. Did you want to know something? Is there anything that caught your attention that you wanted to hear more about?
You talking to me?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, my bad. I think we like overlapped in our lag. Yeah. For me specific, not necessarily. I think one of the things that I found cool was that dragons could be locational, and it's like they can just harbor an area where, like, I gave the example, and it made a lot of sense when you spoke about it. Like, right here, it's still here. It's still right here underneath me. He's hiding. You know, it's like I have my dragon, but then, like, in the location that I'm at, there's a yellow dragon that sits in this property, but it stays in this property. And I lived in another place, and there's in a completely different city, and there's this massive green dragon, massive. And it's where a lot of my heart healing went through this major portal. And it was like, it took like, I was only there for a month, but then within that month, I went through this heart portal transformation. And so what I wanted to say is like to know that like some dragons are locational. They sometimes they're here for this area, this domain, wherever you may be. And it will often, if you read into it, if you feel into it, you'll understand what are they here to show you? What are they here for you to experience? And so for me, like, for example, if I use this yellow dragon, this is not my yellow dragon. It sits right there. I see it right now. But it's not mine. But while I'm here in this location, it has been balancing out my ambitions. It's been giving space for new ambitions to arrive. It's I see somebody say ley lines. It's almost like a ley line. It's like a yellow ley line. It has helped me rebalance the power hungry parts of myself, right? Which is now, you talk solar plexus chakra, power hungry is when it's overactive. So when you just work and you push and you push and you push, and now you get overactive, you become hungry for power. You become, or you out of balance, you start to feel inferior to others, when it's like that's just an illusion. So I realized that this yellow has been, if you look, even I put on my StreamYard, look at Centered Touch name or anybody's name, the theme on my thing is yellow, right? Even if I step back, it's like the rim of this is yellow. You know what I mean? And so even my icon is yellow, and it's here that at this location. And I just wanted to make that clarity where, like, this is kind of how this particular ley line works. So you may have a dragon, if you witness it in your vicinity, that may only be assigned to that location, not necessarily you specifically. And I just felt called to say that in the moment.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because that is totally a thing. I would say dragons, they are like the guardians, if you will, of the earth. And that's why I kind of like, as a grid worker, I like to travel to different locations, and I'm always discovering like new dragons, and I will connect in, and they'll say that they are like the guardian of this specific area or a specific thing. Like, one of the only dragon I ever saw like physically was like the guardian of like just some tide pools like in Australia at this one specific beach, and like that was his like domain. He was meant to protect those tide pools. And then I connected with this other dragon that was like meant to protect the mountain. So they work together with earth, like protecting, and they can be anchored to a specific location. And I do think this is actually a good lead-in if we can go into this. James Drabkin's question: is it true that dragons will not physically materialize here in this world ever? Like if I try to summon them, will they appear before me in a mirror and converse with me? If so, how can I summon? So just to answer that briefly, I would say I don't think that's true at all. I feel like the dragons, they kind of aren't able to materialize like physically right now, but that doesn't mean that they're not ever going to be able to manifest physically. So as like humanity ascends and we lift our vibrational frequency and the frequency of the planet, we are going to start seeing dragons physically. At least that's my belief. They're going to feel safer to show their forms, because right now they could. And like I said, I have seen it once. I did see a dragon physically manifest once, very, very briefly, before it realized it was like, oh crap, like you can see me. I got to like phase back out of existence again. They can do it, but because there's like this rift between dragons and like the magical world and humanity, when humanity kind of fell, like after the Atlantean times, we had our like descension, if you will, and that put a rift between us and dragons. And humans did start to like hunt dragons for their magical properties, because humans used to have that magic. We used to be like immortal, for example, and we lost that when we descended to the third dimension. We lost that, but the dragons retained it, and so people did like hunt dragons and seek them out. And dragons started to be like, okay, this isn't cool. Like we don't feel safe. We're still going to look out for you humans, but we're not going to do so in like a dimension that you can see. So they vibrate typically at the higher frequencies, and they do have the ability to shift their frequency to even higher frequencies or lower frequencies at will. So yeah, in summation, yes, you could definitely see a dragon physically materialize, and I think that's going to become more common.
Yeah, and I feel like within that too, it's like it almost helps you to see their material forms when you detach from what you feel a dragon looks like, because you'll begin to see it. Like my cat is a white dragon. Nice. And he's not always a white dragon. He morphs. And this is what dragons do. Dragons morph. They take shape of what they need to be when they need to be it. And that's going to be different for each person. So it's like you'll see dragons, you'll physically see the manifestation of dragons if one, you dissociate with what you believe it to look like, the image is being shown, and you'll start realizing that like they often morph just like we do as humans. And so at a genetic level, I feel like even if I see this through gene keys, for example, and like we have like, I don't know, like X amount of years before we begin to mutate physical form.
Yeah.
200, 300, 400 plus years until we completely don't even have a physical form at all. But it's already beginning to happen at a molecular level. And what I feel is like when it comes to seeing dragons more metaphysically, it's not the differentiation between the physical and the metaphysical won't really exist anymore. Where if I close my eyes, I could see a dragon right now. It's not physically here, but if I close my eyes, where am I going? Right? Like I'm just going into the astral, and it's like they exist there, and your own imagination can mold and transform it. So my point is, we're leaving physical form as well. So it's like they are already in, like I said, even in this deck, the lowest dragon starts in the fourth dimension, which has the closest access to humans. But the fourth dimension, like I said, is the causal realm. So it's like they've already trailblazed, at least the way I'm seeing it right now, they've already trailblazed into alternate dimensions. And they're, in a sense, waiting for our ascension, as well as clearing certain blocks and barriers. Specifically, I know as well, fourth dimensional dragons, they're like very much clearing what's here on Earth so that we can, within our physical form, surrender to physical form. And this is happening. Hear what I'm saying? Physical form, Saturn in Pisces. This is happening over the next 2.5 years. Everything we're saying right now, you're going to more magically understand. But we're morphing material matter into spirit right now. And at the same time, spirit matter is morphing into material. And this is the conversion, the collision, and the mutation. This is why it says mutating realities, because both are happening simultaneously. It's not just spirit going to physical, it's physical going into spirit, and it's both. And that is ultimately going to change our perception collectively of what we see ourselves. And so if anybody understands fractals, for example, you'll better be able to understand the realms that dragons exist, where you are already in the realms of dragons. You're in the presence of dragons now. But we have to understand the concept of the scientific concept of fractals, where there's these specks of reality. Doctor Strange is probably the best sample that can make this out, right? The madness, I forget what it's called.
Quantum madness or something.
Quantum madness or
yeah,
something.
I don't know.
That's the best example I've seen in like modern pictorial, if you will.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, it's really on point. And I would say you really touched on something important, which is this is why dragons are integral to the ascension process. And that's something I've been called to speak a little bit more on as well, is like dragons are integral to the ascension process because they're kind of teaching us how to detach from the physical form, because they are all just master shapeshifters. And I talk about that a lot, how it's like their appearance doesn't really matter. And a lot of times they won't even really have like a gender polarity or anything. They aren't attached to those like physical things usually. They're just an energy, and they're here to encourage us to remember that we too are just an energy, and to kind of return back to that energy that we all are, and that connects all of us.
1000%. I'm glad this is making sense for people.
Right? I know. Sometimes I always feel like I'm like, is this making sense? Does this sound totally insane? Is this going over your head?
No. Well, I had to realize like it's almost not, especially as an 11, like, and you as well, I had to realize like it's not worth us debating that anymore.
Yeah.
Simply because it's like, this is the internet, right? And we understand how expansive it is. We're going to be dead when everybody resonates with this.
Yeah.
I say, and not like just fractions of groups of people who had dreams and they're like curious, so they seek us and then they find us. Eventually, this will exist when we're dead.
Yeah.
And I found that it's more important for us to just say it as it is, no matter how incomprehensible it is, and let others reach it when they're ready, and understand that like like even when I was looking at astrology charts nowadays, like I have a reading coming up like next week, and somebody brought it for their niece, and she's like 13.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, you know what I mean? Like that's probably the youngest that I'm gonna like professionally read for somebody, rather than just like I know a cousin and I'm talking to her and she's like, you know, like somebody booking a reading, and I'm like, this is happening. When I look at it, a lot of the even astrologers I've come across and people who not even astrologers and they just learn about it, they were 17, you know, and that was young for me at a point. I'm like, what the hell? And they know, like, they be speaking to me, and I'm like, yo, like, you realize, like, you know more about astrology than I do. Like this has happened, and they just grew into it. So I realized, like, it's like kind of this is like Leo again, detaching from baby boomers and older, and realizing this is who I am, and this is for everybody. Officially, I now can pull this card. This was the official. These are the last two, I guess.
Hell
One,
yeah.
one. Oh, I'm off the cream. One is actually here. I'm going to make this bigger again.
That's the Chaos Dragon vibe card.
This is the Chaos Dragon. This
Yeah.
is Samael. This is Samael. This is the Devil card in tarot, or Samael, Archangel Samael, and it literally speaks. It says seduction and downfall. That's the first sentence. It then says communicates with the dead. Okay, hear what I just said. Communicates with the dead. When I hear this right now, I'm again thinking Akashic Ocean, the Akashic Ocean, where all these memories are stored. It's like somebody has already died, and you have that memory. You have access to that memory. So communicates with the dead. And then the last sentence says it teaches the occult and magic. Listen, it teaches the occult and magic. Now, what's important about Samael is like, I feel like there's a little bit of the backstory, right? Like he fell from heaven, yada, yada, yada. But to fall from heaven and then to go to hell, guess where you have to make a pit stop at? Earth.
Yep.
Earth. So when you think Samael, this is the desire and being able to pull on people's desires. And it's like, this is part of the chaos. But that chaos is what ultimately created change in these angelic realms. Because like I said, again, the things about angels is they've never incarnated as humans. And that creates a certain sense of detachment and, quite frankly, freaking tyranny. In all sincerity, it's like, it's kind of how you said with dragons, like they're not aware that they can just blow on you and you can blow up. You can just cease to exist. That takes experience. And so when I see this is a part of the chaos. It's like, we're not just ascending masters and God knows what other angelic or otherworldly creatures, they're coming into earth as well. And they don't understand their power because when gods are only clashing with other gods, they can bang out and no one's going to die. When a god is just speaking to a human, their voice can shadow you completely. And so they learn how to tone that frequency to be able to reach us. So we're not just going into the metaphysical. The metaphysical is coming to us, and that's how it looks. And this is also why it is very tense. Energetically speaking, it's difficult to coexist right now between the world of supernatural and the natural world. It takes time for this mutation. So be patient.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Patience is a big lesson, especially for us like fire sign types. Like we want it now, right? Like that's been a perpetual theme of like, okay, I'm surrendering time, gonna be patient. I will say this question caught my mind quite a ways up there now.
17 years ago.
Centered touches, can they be assigned to certain chakras as guardians? So talking
about
I
saw that one. I saw that.
Yeah. So I can answer this one really briefly, actually. I'm going to actually refer you to a video. I did a video on this a few months back. It's like called Balancing Your Chakras with the Dragons or something. So yes. Yeah, you saw that one?
I saw it. I saw it pop up on the screen.
Awesome. Yeah. Highly recommend checking that out. Maybe I will try to leave a note to like leave a comment with that in it after we're done with the live. So anyone watching the recording can like access that if they want to see it. Sure. But in short, yes, dragons do have associations with the different chakras, and you can work with the dragons to like open and purify specific chakras.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'll say on that for now, because that's like another rabbit hole. But yeah, definitely check out that video. And if you have other questions, feel free to let me know, because there's so much to be explored there, I would say.
1000%. One of the meditations I did this with my membership group like 2 weeks ago, is angelic Reiki. And
Ooh.
yeah, it's dope. And within angelic Reiki, dragons always appear. Honestly, angelic Reiki is it just creates a portal where you can communicate with gnomes, dragons, cosmic dolphins, angels, animals, whatever. And it's just a safe place to do it. Point being, a lot of times what happens is the dragons will come from this divine spark, usually from very far, far away behind us, and they will wrap their wings around you into a cocoon. And so in this cocoon, one, you're just protected, because one of the main principal responsibilities of dragons is protection. Like they're very protective energies. They protect your treasures. They protect your pearls. And so when they protect you at this cosmic level of defense, right? What happens is you feel safe enough to open, because you realize that you're no longer in threat. And when we feel safe, this is, again, think divine feminine. When divine feminine feels safe, what can she do? She feels free to create. She feels free to be in her chaotic sexuality and to swish and flow and be divine and chaotic in whatever manner. So if you've never gotten angelic Reiki or had your dragons hold you like this, try it. Angelic Reiki actually literally exists on my site if you wanted to do it. But separate from that, when they hold you in this cocoon, it creates this healing portal of whatever that dragon has come to do. A lot of times through the color, you can understand, oh, it's coming from my throat chakra, or oh, it's coming, for blah, blah, blah. So if you've never come across it, I highly recommend that you try an angelic Reiki, do research, get a reading, whatever it is, because when they put you in that cocoon, you transport. I feel like this is finally when this is the last card I had for the day. You can do this.
There you go. Stand in your power. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You literally can do this. And this says, look for the pot of gold and accept joy. So this is all about, it's the unlock of the portal, and it helps you look for the pot of gold that waits. It's filled with good things, even a little magical. But the reward is coming for all that you have learned already and accomplished on your journey. And the enchantment may come in any form, but it will fulfill your deepest hopes and secret, keyword, desires. So this is a doorway kind of energy, and it's telling you to find yourself sitting quietly on your unicorn. Sense that this beautiful rainbow is arcing across the sky. Breathe in its magical energy. And I'm bringing her back now. I always say, when you don't know, one of the things that I've seen, like in these portal realms, if you will, is this rainbow arc pouring in. So from usually unicorn's horn itself, they pour like a rainbow, and through the top of your head, or even through your third eye center. And
feel that.
You feel me? And so what's nice about the rainbow is you don't need to worry. When a unicorn sends you a rainbow, you don't need to worry what chakra is being healed, or what's being enlightened, or what's recharging. It doesn't matter. It's going to equally distribute each chakra, each color accordingly. That's the best part about things like angelic Reiki. You don't need to focus. You only need to surrender and know that you're safe. When a dragon is having their wings around you, and then the angel wings are lapped up on top of you, and then you have unicorns pouring rainbows of light within you, you're just safe. Like, no one can harm you in those spaces, I promise. And when you heal like that at a soul level, when you step back, it usually takes 3 weeks to a month sometimes months. A lot of times these I don't even want to say downloads, these transmissions, they continue to fill you up for 6 months, 2 years. It doesn't just stop. It isn't not like, oh, I got my thing done and I'm all good. It continues to do it at a rate that you can handle. Because like I said, the power coming from these alternate realms, there takes time to integrate and understand how fragile humans are for godlike energy. Humans are very fragile. They're very fragile. And so it's hard to understand. So what I'm saying is it will fill itself in and it will give you what you're ready for and what you can handle when you can. But all you got to do is focus on standing in your power and let this unicorn stand next to you and touch you. And what you can do is envision yourself in a golden and a blue cloak, if you wanted to call on this particular power.
Beautiful. I feel that energy. I also wanted to say, I think it's really cool. I haven't heard of angelic Reiki. I didn't know if you were aware that dragon Reiki is a thing. That is something that I've like played with a little bit myself. I'm learning more and more about it. And I can tell you when I got attuned to Reiki, I did that first attunement. Usui Sensei came to me as a red dragon. It very much has like this dragon energy about him. So just throwing it out there that very much like you can do Reiki with the dragons as well if you want to do that. And like I feel like this is something we're still kind of anchoring onto the planet and learning how to do. So don't feel like you need to seek out like a teacher or something for how to do dragon Reiki. It's like, I guarantee if you're watching this, like you already innately have that information and that coded within you. So if you have like you feel called to do this, just start doing it and follow your intuition. See where your intuition leads you and where the dragons guide you, and they will help you create your own specific brand of healing.
Because that's where all of this is going regardless. Like, that's a message I got a couple of days ago. It's like, be your own guru, like, honestly, be your own healer. You don't need me or anyone else. Like, you really don't. And that we need to get to that point where people feel they can do this on their own, because that's the only time that we collectively can transcend, like I said, this mental body.
Yeah. And that is, I would say that is what my brand is all about. That's why it's called Own Your Powers. It's like all about remembering how sovereign you are. And you really don't need to seek anything from anyone outside of you, anything else. It's all about just remembering how powerful you really are, and that everything you hold, like the Akashic records themselves, source itself, reside within you and flow from within you to the external when you're making space for that, as we talked about.
Absolutely. So, Hannah, is there any questions you have for me as we start wrapping up, or vice versa? Is there anything that you feel before we get off this stream that must happen?
Yeah, that's really a good question. I do have a question for you, and I also have something I would like to end on. I did feel called to pull a dragon oracle, and it really geeked me out. So I'll talk about that at the very end to kind of send us off, because I think it's really good for just to meditate on as we leave. But my question for you is just about the astrology, maybe, or like your take on the energy we're in for maybe the next 3 months or so, because I've intuitively been getting the downloads that this is like a portal, and that we're kind of in this breaking down chaotic energy right now and integration, and that maybe around the June solstice or so, people on this path are going to start to emerge with gifts and with clarity and tangible manifestations.
Okay, cool. So I'm glad you reminded me. I actually already had it up. There are two things happening. One, from a human design perspective, I don't know. I'm not able to like draw on this, but if you look from the bottom square, it's empty, right? And I move up, that's your root chakra. I move up to the solar plexus. I move up, I'm sorry, to the sacral, where you say 14 and 3. And I move up to the center, and that's the solar plexus. Over to the right is what I want you to see. And you'll see that gate 51, for example. Well, can I highlight that? I don't know. Gate 51, this is the portal. This is actually Jupiter in Aries. So this gate 51 and 25, it was full at a point. And so what I want people to know about that about it being full at a point, oh crap. We are currently in a portal. When it was full, that portal was hyperactive. It sped us up so fast that it's really difficult to comprehend, and it brought a lot of agitation to the collective. Lots and lots of agitation. This happened like 2 to 4 weeks ago, if you will. But half of it is still open. So some people are still portaling through that energy. It's just not as intense. Actually, all of us are still portaling through that energy. It's just not as intense in the moment. But it did link up with Chiron and Aries. So what we're saying is our healing is happening so rapidly. The best thing I feel like you can do is not treat Aries season like I need to push, I need to go, I need to be what I think an Aries is. Because first off, that's not Aries energy. It's one of the largest misconceptions ever. It is an individual, it is a pioneer, sure, yes, of course. Yet and still, it has links to Uranus and it has links to Pluto. And these are very different than its Martian understanding. So what I'm saying is once Aries gets over the fear of getting to the end and repressing that fear or reacting to that fear or just seeing the future, because it really does see the future, and wanting it now, once it gets over that, that's a lower level frequency Aries. I'm just telling you right now. And that's the season we're in. So the pushing energy, we have to align with what is Taurian in the sky. And so let me show y'all here. I wanted to bring bop. Okay, cool. So, damn, can y'all see that? Okay, there we go. Can I make that bigger? Yes, I can. Come on, computer. Okay, here we go.
All right. Looks
Voila.
clear to me. Yeah.
All right, so this is today, right? If we look, even if I just look at this little dial, a lot of Aries is left, right? Aries was here. It was here right before Taurus. Jupiter is still there. The sun is still there. We had a new moon there, and we have an eclipse. So what I'm saying is this is fire, earth, and water. And we need to think about what those three elements make up. And that's just right now. That's today. But it's mostly earth, fire. Yeah, fire, earth, and water. So right now, what this is saying essentially, just now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just keep skipping ahead and tell a brief story about the week up until the June solstice, right? Right now, what this story is saying is we're in the middle of so much pressure that we're being forced to stabilize. We're being forced to let go of certain things that we have: a home, a car, a dollhouse, a plant, things, just things, material things. Which is why, again, like I said, this Devil card came earlier. This is Capricorn energy. Things. We're letting go of things, and the water is supporting our ambitions and our ego. It is, when I say supporting, I mean it is soothing. We have to go through a soothing of the mental ego and align with what the ego operates with from a heart space. That's what's happening. It's like, can we give selflessly and realize that selfishness is important, but it's not the definition that society would like to convince you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So all of this is happening, but it's happening in a way where we have this expectation to approach this in a fiery way, but instead we're being asked to approach this in a grounded, sensitive, slow manner. And that's kind of right now, right? So if I go back into that, as we move forward, I'm actually going to move by the month. So right now it's April 8th. By the time we get into May 8th, okay, we're working towards that summer solstice. Very soon, as you see, the sun is already going to leave Aries. So everything I just said, until the sun hits Taurus, we're not conscious of that sensitive energy, of that slowing down, of what things do we just not need anymore. They don't align, like things, physical things. We're going to be more consciously aware of our bank accounts. One of the largest worries right now is scarcity. I saw Hannah talk about the owl. And one of the things about the owl is when it's out of balance, we're worried, we're being scarce. We have a scarce mindset. We are not feeling generous anymore. And we essentially need to put up an offering. That's how you kind of balance if you're working out of a scarce mindset rather than an abundant mindset. And Taurus likes to feel abundant. So the thing is, Mercury was there, our minds. Venus already passed, okay, because Venus is in Taurus right now, right? Literally today. So in a month from now, we're going to go Venus and Gemini, and it's already going to hit Cancer. So we're going to leave a feminine sign in Taurus and Venus, which is where we are now. We're going to go into a masculine sign, which will be less than a month from now, literally, it'll be over in a month, Venus and Gemini. And then we're going to be back in this feminine energy. And this feminine energy is meeting with this feminine energy, and is meeting with this feminine energy, and is meeting with this feminine energy. And so to make sense of that in the simplest way, here's what I mean. Men are aligning with the divine in the masses. And the water of Cancer is helping us to be unconditional and more loving within our masculine approach to life, with our goals, the purpose, our direction. Okay, where the water is soothing our persecution muscle. When we want to persecute people out of insecurity, like when somebody points something out and we felt bruised and triggered, we just went through a major healing, and that's the portal that Hannah was talking about with Jupiter in Aries on human design. Like I said, that gate 51. I have videos out there. Just look up gate 51 and you'll understand that to perfection. But as well as Chiron Aries right at that gate 51 as well. So our healing is so far ahead of us. We can't really understand how much we've healed at an identity level, healed our courage, healed our boldness, healed our individuality, our ability to go out there and get it without trying to prove anything, without trying to force anything, to align with the heart and not the mind. And this is what's been happening. So once that Cancer energy, the reason why this matters is Mars is the ruler of Aries. So when all that energy was in Aries, it didn't matter because Mars was in Cancer. And Cancer is a water, divine, moon-like creature. It's the moon. And the moon is nothing associated with Aries. It has no understanding of why does Aries, at least the understanding of Aries in the modern day, until 2025, no one's going to understand what Aries really means. It doesn't matter how much I tell people, because Neptune needs to go into Aries for the delusion of it to go away. But Cancer doesn't need that. Cancer is the moon, and it can shift. It can change its feelings. It can have a feeling and change its feelings. It can have an emotion and change its emotion. It can have an intuitive spark, Aries spark, and change that spark and navigate like this, like a crab, side to side. And as a collective, we're needing to understand that. And we will by May. Now, as we move forward, one more section, all right? I'm going to go one more month forward. I'm going to pull it up for y'all here. Here's where magic begins to happen, all right? By the time we go for one more month, our belief systems And the ones that we've been stuck on around money, Jupiter is going to help us transcend it. Because let's be honest, what holds us back from being ourselves, from taking a risk, from going to that country, from expressing your love to that person? And what's holding us back? It's our attachments. And Taurus is representing our attachments. So the thing is, by what month is this? This is June. So by June, right, what's happening is Jupiter is all about, I want to free you wherever it's at. I want to free you from your suffering. I want to take all your suffering and have you look at it optimistically. So what's Taurus? It's our bank accounts. It's like when we look at our bank account, if we're like, oh my God, I don't have enough money to do blah, 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 we're going to feel free from that. Not only that, but we'll likely have a good chance and opportunity to bump that account, to get it to a place where we feel safe and secure. Let me try to see what's happening here. So Saturn in Pisces, how you're going to bump your bank account in all sincerity is to stop psychically and emotionally manipulating your peers and people in your relationship with. If you stop doing that, stop gaslighting people, likely your bank account will grow. Now, the thing is, this is an unseen force in Pisces. So when I say that, it's easy to be like, oh, I don't do that. But it's like, it doesn't matter because it's Saturn. And it's like, look, integrity. Okay, this is emotional integrity. And this is a level of consciousness that is realistically looking at the ways in which we deceive ourselves. So by this month, we're going to really, it's just going to become clear, right? If you're continuously deceiving others and emotionally manipulating them, okay, or playing psychic games on people, you're not going to grow from your stubborn attachments to the things you own. Now, if you are, likely your bank account will grow, honestly. But Pisces is unseen, so we must understand that element that you can't trick Saturn, so you can trick your partner, you can trick a coworker, you could trick a friend, but ultimately Saturn will be on your ass, and it's not going to be friendly. And it's going to happen for 2.5 years, so be mindful of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not even, it doesn't even have to be just this month. But my key from here, if I look at Jupiter, what's the tension? The tension is, all this Leo energy, okay? Jupiter is going to go straight from, what is this? Venus, Mars, and Lilith. It's going to be right across. So what story does this tell, okay? This says we must, kind of how I've been saying, which is already happening this month, we must operate from the heart space, period. If we do not, again, you're going to lose large amounts of money, and it won't be a logical process. It's not like, oh, I went to work for my 40 hours this week, I should have this much money. No, it's going to be just these random occurrences you'll have to pay for a flat tire. You have to pay for the other, and I don't know where you're going to lose money. But it's like, it's not because the flat tire. It's not because you got less hours at work. It's because you're being asked to start operating generously from a heart space, and you're still attaching to a selfish, self-centered approach. That is only going to be the people that suffer financially.
Yeah.
That's going to be the people. That's going to be the ones. So anybody complain about money is like, you've been able to trick people so long in this psychic manner, in this unseen realm. At a spiritual level, you've been able to see through people and use it to your advantage. Those are the people who are having to give back their gains. Now, if you've just been true, you might have been seeming like you were always in the loss, but you just kept your heart pure as could be. You kept it light. You kept it bright. You kept it vibrating. You're likely going to see the people who are losing money, you're going to gain their money. Now, it's not necessarily going to go from their bank account to your bank account. This is energetics. You feel me? This is just, life is just going to say, look, there's a balance to these things. So the balance looks like, well, this guy who had 10 million, well, he just lost 3 billion. He just lost 3 million. So that 3 million can now get distributed, energetically speaking, to 10 million people. And You know, that might only be $1,000 to this person, $500 to this person, $20 to this person. Whatever is going to be deserved. That's my point. It's going
I
to be
felt
deserved.
I felt that, like, I got the word balance in my brain like really loud. It's like it is like a karmic balancing, I feel, that's about to happen. It's like all of us that have been looking at ourselves, have been doing this work and working with spirit, we are finally going to be rewarded. And the people that
1,000%.
haven't, they are going to like lose that kind of physical edge that maybe they've had for many years now.
1,000%. Balance. Look, 222. Like
Yeah.
it's all balancing. And what, so by this month, what I'm saying is from May, when you have that water energy in the sky, do your best to learn your family's conditioning on how you have been gaslit, and then in return start gaslighting others. And when you figure that out, don't shame yourself, because that is going to be what becomes your hindrance, your greatest hindrance. But if you don't shame yourself, you look at this. This happened to me the other day with my partner. I freaked out on her on the randomest thing. I had no idea. I literally was fully in my feminine energy. I just was chaotic, and I just like snapped. And in the moment of snapping, I heard my mother's voice, and I literally was winded back, and I knew it in the moment, but I couldn't change anything different, and nor did I want to. We need to accept and embrace that it's important to live in that chaotic energy, because only by me allowing myself to feel it did I recognize this is not mine. This is literally not my behavior. It's not my pattern. And I can officially let it go. And by doing that, I still took 25 minutes or so. I didn't speak to my partner. I could have people pleased in a moment and said, hey, I'm sorry, yada, yada, yada. But I didn't understand what was fully going on yet. So there's no reason to say that. So I took the extra 25 minutes. I stayed in silence. And then when I was ready and I understood what was going on, I came to her correct, back with the masculine clarity, and said, here's what happened. There's nothing for you to do. This just happened. Here's what happened. Here's why it happened. And here's why I can't apologize.
Yeah.
But I can be clear about what went down.
Yeah. It's just bringing that awareness, right?
Bringing the whole awareness, because I'm like, look, like this is not even my behavior. And I can't shame myself or be in regret for just becoming aware of something for the first time. I just became aware of it. So this is essentially what I'm saying. Like, that's a prime example of, this is the stuff that by next month, we're going to go through that all through Cancer season. Every one of your systematic behaviors that you don't recognize, other than this was your punishment, or at least it felt that way while growing up, and this is how you were gaslit. All this stuff, get in tune with that next month, because if you do, your blessing is going to come in your accounts. I'm not kidding you. You will expand so drastically, so abundantly, but it's only going to come if you learn those gaslit lessons from the family behavior, and now you say, I'm stepping into my power, and this is what it looks like. And to be able to do that gently, without throwing it in someone's face, without making them feel bad about blah, 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 and just realizing that you can feel good, and that's enough. And through you feeling good, that is the generous light and heartfelt energy you can then share infinitely. And that's what happens by the time May comes around. I mean, June.
Beautiful.
Leading towards the summer solstice.
That's like exactly, honestly, the energy that I've kind of been intuiting. And I will add a hit I got while you were speaking too, something that people can work with this month, so that we are like opening ourselves to receiving this abundance and these rewards that are coming in next month and in June, is to ask yourself, how am I gaslighting myself? Because you might be gaslighting like others, and you might be gaslighting yourself on the fact that you're gaslighting others, if you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just becoming aware of how you are lying to yourself. So that is, I would
Mm-hmm.
say this month, you might want to play with some shadow work, and you can call upon, I would say, the darkness dragons and the light dragons. They would love to help with this for this integration process. You can ask and just meditate on this question. Where am I gaslighting myself? How
Mm-hmm.
am I gaslighting myself? And I'd encourage you, you can ask yourself maybe every day, like for this month,
Mm-hmm.
like just journaling on it and seeing how that shows up for you that day. And then
Yeah.
you call upon the darkness and the light dragons, and they will imbue integration naturally as a result. And this will open your energy, as we were saying, this will make space for your true essence to shine through, which is unconditional love and ultimate abundance. That, again, that stuff isn't outside of you. You don't need to get it from anyone else or anywhere else. You just generate it from within.
1,000%. So what she just said, that's right now. So April, Venus is in Taurus right now at 27 degrees. Couple of days it's going to be in Gemini, right? Taurus and Gemini, both. These are magnificent writers, and they manifest through writing. Taurus, putting things into the physical reality, that you have to put it into physical reality. So take that and take Mars, Venus, and Gemini, all this Gemini energy, and communicate with yourself through writing, art, anything where something is physically writing out your manifestation, or in this instance, how do you gaslight yourself? Write the question at the top of the paper. How do I gaslight myself? That's the most beautiful thing I feel like I heard this week, Hannah. Because that's something I think that's just super underrated. Because at the
Right?
end of the day, right, we're adults. Doesn't matter what the conditioning was. At the end of the day, we're adults. Today, I'm an adult. Today, I'm an adult. And so what I'm saying is it's time to reparent ourselves. And we're able to easily do that by being honest that today I'm an adult. So
Yeah.
when I snapped on my partner, for example, that's not my mom's fault. It does me no justice to start, oh yeah, it's my mom and shit. No justice. No justice at all. I'm an adult. And it's like, how do I gaslight myself? I recognize like what was happening, and that whole entire snap was to hide an insecurity. That's what it was about. And so getting larger and larger and larger in my performance and the drama and the chaos is only trying to more deeply repress and bury through a reactive means of fear my own insecurity that actually is not my insecurity. And it's like it's
Yep.
all of this attachment to this, it's not mine. So
Yeah.
that's what's happening during this Aries season and this portal that we're healing. We're detaching from the parts that we've attached to our identity and embracing that it's just not mine. I don't need this. It served its purpose, and its best purpose was to inform me that it's not mine, and I no longer need to hold this.
Yeah, that's so juicy. It really is. It's all about bringing that power back to you, because it's acknowledging, like, maybe, for example, your mom did gaslight you growing up, and at a time
Thousand
you
percent.
were like a victim to that. But then recognizing how right now you are an adult, and in this moment, in gaslighting yourself, you're perpetuating that. And that allows
Exactly.
you to flip the switch and be like, oh, hey,
Boom.
I'm gaslighting myself. I can stop that and then emerge, transcend the victimhood, right?
That's how we win in Leo season.
Yeah.
So we win in Leo season by winning now. Everything Hannah just said. It's like looking at these things now, because it's like the hardest distraction right now is money. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the transit. It's money. It's money. It's money. It's money. Do I have money? Rent's going up. Eggs are $3,000. Right? Money. How will I do these things I want to do? But that's the simple distraction. The real work is in everything Hannah just said. Do that shadow work and discover it now. Then you're really going to win, because what's the summer solstice? It's when the sun is the brightest. It's the most daylight, right? Like this is when what you did in private becomes public success.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
real reaping of everything I just said, that's just going to be the public success, public. But it's a feeling of the vision. The real reaping of the rewards will happen in Virgo season in September. So understand what I just said. September is Earth. Oh, crap. What did I do? September is Earth, right? So Earth, my webcam turned off. And 3, 2, 1, bam. You see how dusty my other camera is? Dusty. So Earth,
it's like a Neptune transit or something.
oh my God,
It's like
literally,
clouded, right? Yeah.
literally
Wow.
hear the fog,
Yeah.
right?
You just transcended the matrix. Congratulations.
So remember, like Taurus season, you're going to stabilize those values. Virgo season is when you actually reap the rewards in September, late August to September. So any of your physical, earthly worries and anxieties, just trust that you're not really going to see it of what you earned until September. But what you earned started in March. So we're in April right now. It started in March. The dream you're manifesting started in March, but you won't see that dream physically on Earth until September.
That's so validating, Pernell, because I have been saying, like, what we did in March is we literally planted seeds for these rewards. So that is so validating because that is like a whole cycle, like a growth cycle, right? That in like September takes about 6 months. We're going to really start manifesting that. And I feel like June is a nice checkpoint where it's like we're going to start to have a better idea of exactly what we just did plant. Because I feel like a lot of us didn't really even know what we were planting.
Yeah. Because June into July, you're feeling good. Where you ain't really seeing the gains yet, but you feel good now because that's that Leo channel season. So it's like you feel the channel. You're like, look, I'm connected to some form of abundance and like I'm feeling it. And it's like any moment now I'm going, and then it's going to be when you stay in your heart.
Yeah.
I'm telling you over and over, and this is coming back to the heart every time. It's when you stay in your heart and you don't let those accolades or those accomplishments or that good feeling get to the head, get to the mind. Yeah. That's what's going to destroy you in this particular season. So, yeah, that's that. You know, mind the temptation. This card started flickering at me. This is the devil card again in tarot.
Yeah.
Mind the temptations. Okay? Mind the temptations. Be aware of the seduction and the downfall. And this is, again, the moon card. This Gabriel was the moon card. So it's like, look, we have Saturn in Pisces. So our old addictions, they're going to continuously come back. Whatever it is, sex, marijuana, alcohol, travel. I learned one time that I was addicted to traveling to different countries. Straight up. Like, that's an awkward addiction. I didn't even think that could be an addiction. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely there. Wanderlust is a real addiction.
You know, I had no idea that could be an addiction, but I had to realize, like, P, you need to just sit still, bro. You need to, like, not leave the country. You need to stay still. And I had to realize, oh, wow, this is my form of escape. Okay, that was my form of escape. So I had to address that. That's shadow wounds. That when I began to address that, I started realizing I actually want a home. I want to be able to plant somewhere. So that's the forecast. But what did you have for us that you wanted to channel with that dragon card you pulled?
Yeah, I'll show you. I will just say really quick, like, that's so funny that you just experienced that, recognizing you have this addiction to travel, because I have been the same way. I realized where I was like moving and stuff, part of it was my mission, but part of it honestly was also escapism and me just like, oh, to escape this dramatic situation, I'm just going to move to a different country or a continent, and just constantly running, but then creating the same patterns. And I was supposed to move to Germany last year, and it didn't happen. And basically the shadow work that's been going down is like, is
your twin flame German?
Yes.
My twin flame was German too. Look at the
No shit, dude. That is so crazy. Yeah. The dragon energy is strong over there. But it's like forced me to just be still and to sit with my roots, because I'm back where I like grew up in Ohio in the US right now, and to really just sit and to be still and to get clear for the first time in a very long time. Like I'm not allowed to just run and escape. And I know I will make my move to Germany and I will be able to like travel again, but not until I learn to make peace with where I am. And this time I know it's not going to come from escapism. It's going to come from sovereignty and from like this inner groundedness. So
Yeah,
I just
critical.
think that's really cool. We're like on the same wavelength there.
Super
Um,
critical. Super critical.
but yeah, so the card that I want to leave you all with, and this is a dragon you can actually work with if you would like. This geeked me out. It's emergence is what it's called. It's number 11. That's what geeked me out. You can't make that
Ooh,
shit up. Number
I like that
11
card.
dragon. And it's literally like this dragon coming out of an egg, right? Coming out, breaking out of the shell. And I feel like that's all of us right now. Like we've had to
Mm-hmm.
hide who we were for so long. And
Mm,
now we're like slowly coming out and revealing our true selves, which is like draconian in nature, if you will. Like a lot of us, we're dragon souls, and it wasn't safe to be associated with dragons for the longest
right.
time. They were
Mm-hmm.
demonized by like
Mm,
Christianity, for example, Western culture. And now we're just kind of owning, like, yeah, this is who I am. Like, I am this powerful. I am this wise. I am this sovereign, and just letting go of the shell. And I feel like this card shows we haven't fully emerged yet. We're still being birthed, if you will. This whole new world is still being birthed.
mm.
But it's going to happen as long as you continue to trust in that power and to trust in your sovereign, authentic self. And then I'm going to read from the book on this. Sometimes, as spiritual beings, we find our human experience on earth can be quite tough. Listen to the wisdom of emergence, as he says. It's time to reflect. You need to take stock of what you value and what is important to you, which is also geeky, just based on what I just said about being forced to ground and like not move to the next location. Um, Contemplation and quietness are required. Your experiences may have been vexing. It is unwise to dwell on them, but you can learn from them. Understand those you need to remember and let all others go. From this place, a new vibrant you can emerge.
Mm,
But first, you must allow yourself time to reflect. Go
mm-hmm.
within to that inner place of peace and bring forth that which you wish to be. This dragon appears when we need to take a long, hard look at ourselves and how we live, what we do, and more harshly, our behavior. And I'll just add to that, where are we gaslighting ourselves? That's what we got to look
Mm-hmm.
at. None of the dragons are pushovers. They all demand that we take stock of ourselves, stop kidding ourselves, and are openly honest. And emergence is no different. He gets straight to the nitty gritty and informs you that you are responsible for your life, your behavior, and your experiences, and more importantly, how you react to them. Okay, how you react to them. That really stands out to me. Grit and determination are the order of the day when this powerful dragon finds his way into your cards. He finishes with, remember, you are safe with me. Your fears are nothing but paper tigers and figments of your imagination. Allow me to guide you as you find your balance and carve a new path. Ooh, I got chills on that last part there. Damn.
That card sound like Aries incarnate.
Yeah. That is perfect. It is literally 11. It's 1-1. Just
Yeah,
double Aries in a sense, right?
yeah. It's the emergence, and again, like this is the eclipse, and it happens in April 20th. So that's 12 days from now, which means that we're all feeling eclipse energy already. Aries at 29 degrees. 29 degrees is supremely karmic in nature. You know,
Yeah.
like it's here, it's powerful, and it's a disruptor. It really is, but it's connecting you from polar realities, and
Mm-hmm.
you moving into that connection from this healed space. Understand that all of us right now, whether you're aware or not, doesn't even matter anymore. We're operating from a healed space. So it's the kind of thing where it's like um, your guides, or at least what I'm getting right now, your guides are not gonna give you more blessings if you ignore the blessings that they already have presented, because they realize that you're not capable of handling those blessings. Like they're like, look, they're right here. I've given them to you. Just open your eyes, open your hands, open your heart. And that's how you receive the blessing right now. It's about opening your heart and no longer being suspicious about who's trying to snake us, about who's trying to get one over our head, about who's trying to do something illicit. That mentality is what is ultimately closing the heart chakra and not allowing us to receive. So Mars and Cancer is Mars cuts, and Mars and Cancer is cutting through love. It's cutting through the feminine heart. And so it's like, yeah, everything not allowing you to receive, you can't get more until you open the muscle to receive, because right now you have these gifts on your front door and they're piling up, and now we're losing track of those gifts. We're losing track of the blessings. We're losing track. You don't even, they just, some have come and gone. And because the energetic says we need to transfer this gift to someone else now who is open, who is ready, who is willing to receive. So you missed it, which is not a bad thing, but it's like at any point you can decide to end the cycle. And what I'm telling you is, astrologically speaking, we went through a portal of healing where you can and are ready to emerge. You can and are ready to emerge, but you still have to make that choice yourself. Like, it's an end. This is gate 51. That card she has, emergent. This is the portal that she asked about. This is gate 51. And the main thing about gate 51, which is Jupiter in Aries right now, the main thing is that it's an individual emergence. So we have collective things that happen all the time, but this particular portal is an individual portal, which means that no one can push you through. You can't walk through with anybody else. You're just going to notice that everybody that decided to walk through that portal, y'all all met on the other side. And you're going to be like, oh, you came too? Yeah, man, I just went by myself. Oh, yo, me too. And there's going to be all these individuals that came by themselves, and they're going to then collectively meet on the other side. And that's just how it works. It's an individual portal.
Exactly. That's so powerful. I feel like that's really a great energy to just end this live on, is like, damn, like we are healing, we are ascending, we are moving through the portal right now. And we are protected. Like, we have like our dragons and our angels and our unicorns and our guides, like, and we have each other. Like, we're not doing this alone, even if it feels like we're doing it alone sometimes. Like, we are all connected. And it's so beautiful that we were able to all kind of come together today and co-create this space and this beautiful energy. Like, I definitely feel recharged or re-energized by this energy, and I appreciate you all for showing up and sharing.
1,000%. 1,000%. This was a joy. And like we said, y'all, this was like 3 to 4 months in the making. Like, we tried to collab 3-4 months, but it's the simplicity of, we didn't force it. Everything we're saying right now, we didn't force this build. We were like, look, she's like, I'm moving right now. And then she came back and I'm like, all right, I need a little week or so. And then like and then it happened today.
Yeah.
So my point being, like, none of this particular live was not forced. And that was the magic. And like, I'm saying that because I had a collab live before this that I had to cancel because I realized that there was force, which wasn't even a bad thing, but there was force. And I realized it was going to take away from this connection, which was seeds planted months in the making, being watered and nurtured, where it's only today sprouting through the surface. But this was months of watering and nurturing and building rapport through connection, through email, through YouTube, through IG, all these other different channels. And that is what made this more cohesive today.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfectly put.
Absolutely. So where can people reach you? Where can people find you coming from my channel?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you can hit me up on ownyourpowers.com. That is my website. And my YouTube channel is Own Your Powers. And then also I'm very active on TikTok, and that's just my name, which is Hannah Azok. It's HANNAH, A Z as in zebra. Okay. So yeah, hit me up. I do like channeled messages most days, and I talk about dragons and like shifting realities and all this crazy stuff. And I'm happy to work with you one-on-one. I'm still taking on one-on-one coaching clients right now. I have 2 spots available if anyone feels called to like work with a mentor through this portal and ascension process, now is the perfect time. And I would ask you, Pernell, if you want to share, if there's anything you want to share about how people can reach you from my channel, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. For me, my main focus is this right here. It's memberships, genetic astrology, human design. If you want to be able to look at an astrology map and be like, I understand this for yourself, this is something to come through. If you want to do that, especially within a community, we meet twice a month, bi-weekly on the first and the third Sundays. And Curtis is actually, I see he's in the chat. He's the newest member that just came in.
Nice.
So maybe he can share what he only had one experience with us, but I know I see him in here. And essentially, like for me, like right now it's in this tribe. This tribe is what's building. I only really direct people to that. Anyone that wants one-on-one services, it's fine. You can look for it as well. At this point, I don't promote it. It exists on my site. Anybody can book. At this point, I don't promote it only because it's like if you feel called to do it, then you feel called. I'm leaving it alone. What I feel called to do is memberships, and that's why I'm only putting the focus there. And plus, I find it, it's interactive, and this is one of the things that I love. Like, it's interactive. Like, it's not just me talking to you. I get most joy. It's kind of like Leo kind of energy, honestly.
Yeah.
I get a lot of my joy communicating and allowing the channels to flow, because a whole bunch of people in there have their own cosmic and intellectual wisdom to share with others. And so what I can say is we do meditations in there often. We have done angelic Reiki as a group. I've done group Reikis for the group. So healing sessions are happening pretty frequent, in all sincerity, because I understand we're going through all these portals. And when you go through portals, guess what? Like, your human body gets torn up. Like, the bigger the portal, the black hole is, like, it gets torn up. So I'm looking at, I feel like we're stabilizing like a pod mind, kind of like dolphins, where it's like, a dolphin can individually have a thought and lead that thought, but the pod mind, it passes all that information to all the other dolphins, but we're all still individuals traveling in the same pod. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it with the tribe. So anybody looking for community and that membership level, I'm building an economy, and that economy in the back end, it's looking like Discord, where all these different categories. There will literally be one for just brujas who want to connect. And like, I don't know any witches in the world. Well, now you do. There's this group just for brujas. Oh, I want to just be able to read tarot in a closed community. Okay, it's there. I want to learn astrology, or, by sharing my charts, and people share their charts. There's a group just for that, where everybody's sharing their charts here. And it's kind of working like a forum almost from Reddit, but with people who are more already looking to be in this space in one network. So ultimately, that's what this astro economy looks like for me. So anybody interested in that, check the link in my bio. You'll see it. It'll bring you right there. It is currently $33 a month, just to give you the clear heads up. And beyond that, hopefully I see you in there.
That's awesome. I think that's so funny, actually. My membership, the House of the Spirit Dragon, is also $33 a month. So there we go with the chaos energy, the creation energy.
And that just came to me. I did no strategical, nothing economically sound and strategy. Yeah. It was just like $33. And I was like, $33. And like, I never thought about it.
It's the chaos dragons, and again, that creation energy. And I think I love just how you describe the membership and stuff. That's been my experience. I launched my membership, I would say, last September, and that's been my experience as well. Is it's this beautiful, like, co-creative process where you're not just talking at people, like everyone's kind of bringing a piece of pie to the table, if you will, and it's just so magical. And your membership does sound like super cool, and definitely encourage people to check out these memberships. Like, know that you don't have to do the journey alone. That's like the main kind of complaint I get from people. I'm we're like creating memberships and stuff. We're doing these like co-lives. You can come vibe. Like, it's easier than ever to connect with your tribe and remember that you're not alone.
I mean, even in this live, like today, I feel like this was more of a message that we had to get out. But even in a live like this, like, just being able to send somebody the StreamYard link, a third person could join in this right now. You know what I mean? Like, this to me is just so magical, because like everybody has a voice. Everybody has their own intuition. Everybody is intelligent. You know, everybody is beautiful, externally, internally. Everybody has a heart. And it's like, I feel like it's truly time for us to start communing in this more economy like fashion, where it's like, look, you have something to offer just as much as I have something to offer just as much as you. And it's like, this is the magic of Pluto and Aquarius. It will take 20 years, and Pluto is a very slow planet. So do believe it will take 20 years. But in 20 years from now, everybody will be involved in a tribe globally, no matter what. And some are just getting in on that at the earlier end.
Yeah. We are the front runners. We are the vanguard.
All this energy made me hungry. I'm hungry too. I'm going to
too.
feed my spirit. I'm like, I'm going to feed you. I'm going to feed you.
I
don't know what they
literally
want.
like had my stomach growl at one point, like really loud. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I was like, okay, the stomach dragons are hungry. It's time to nourish.
My dragon growled at some point of this call too.
Yeah.
Like, oh. I was like, okay, bro, we're on the call.
Easy now. Patience. That's the message here.
So that's it. On Hannah's video, on my video, if you're on there, hit the thumbs up. Definitely give her a subscription, especially if you obviously resonate with dragons. Tap in. For those of you watching on replay, thank you for being here. If you made it this far, you're the honest to God, the real trooper. All right, 3 hours in, and I just want to say epic. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for being here. I'm sure Hannah and I will talk. I'm going to press end broadcast here. Hannah, I'll see you backstage if you want, just to say toodles. But
that sounds great. Yeah,
I'll see you all soon. Love.
Thank you so much, guys. Much love.